Race fans, exactly. Very, very warm welcome to day 2 of the SKOPE Classic at the Mike Pero Motorsport Park. It's
We just had someone up here claiming that we were professionals.
illusions of grandeur on there, but his back suspension is looking very bad with all the white.
Good morning and welcome to SKOPE 2022. I'm here with General Manager of the track, Mike Pero, and we've got the first class going out this morning. And who we got going out now?
First up this morning is the Sylvester saloons.
And so, Ron Sylvester, a local legend. All of the fields today are actually named after Cantabrian motor races, yes?
That's pretty much it, yeah. They're all legends right through. Ron Sylvester, Harold Heasley, got the old Murray Maxwell, John Osborne and Pat Hoare. They've all been legends in their time.
And so today we've got a whole lot of racing. What are we looking forward to?
Well, I think everything's going to be great, but highlight for me is always the Formula 5000s. As they come down the front straight, the buildings rumble, everything rattles, it's just great. And obviously the Archibald's historic touring cars, some beautiful cars in that field.
And I mean, the field going out now, so that's one of our saloon fields. We've got 3 of those. Tell us, this field here is made up of a lot of different cars. So what are we seeing going out now?
Yeah, so these are a bunch of sort of historic and classic cars that probably a little bit more modified than the Harold Heasley, whereas the Harold Heasley saloons would have more of like your pre-78 cars with Motorsport New Zealand certification to be a classic. So these are just a little bit more tweaked, a little modified, but still very cool cars.
And so with the 3 saloon fields, obviously Harold Heasley is mainly pre-78, mainly within COD regulations. This one's a little bit faster with a mixed field, and then we've got a faster group again. Which one's that?
So that's the John Osborne. It's sort of a modern saloon class, and that's where we're seeing some of the Australian V8 supercars coming into it, and then other cars that have maybe classic with modern motors, modern brakes and all of that, and we just put them all into that.
And away they go. We're both on live stream and we're on the PA here, which is blowing our minds a little bit because it has a little bit of a delay on it, so it's quite exciting for us, yeah?
It's different. It's great.
So it's a beautiful day down here, and if you're in Christchurch, you want to come down. Tickets on the gate, yeah?
Tickets at the gate, yep. $35 for an adult, under 16 free.
And we expect a big crowd today, yeah?
Absolutely. Yesterday was a very big crowd, so I'm expecting even bigger today. But plenty of room on the banks. We'll never miss a spot, so come down, come watch racing.
So this is the 32nd SKOPE year. I mean, that must be a New Zealand sort of record, right?
I'm guessing so. I started getting involved with running it 9 years ago. I was always afraid that I'd bugger it up because it's it's an absolute amazing event. But we've been able to keep going forward, keep growing it, and it is what it is. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I first came to this, I think, in 1992 or something like that, and I think it was the BP Alpha back then.
Yeah, BP Alpha it started out as, and then became the PDL, and then SKOPE took over, and yeah, that's what we've been doing for I think 20-something years now, SKOPE.
Yeah, 22 years under the SKOPE banner. That's an amazing history you've had.
It's an incredible partnership. Guy Stewart and the team from Scope Industries, a phenomenal group of people, great sponsors. They get behind everything we do, very supportive, and it's what's made the event what it is today.
And Guy told me that the car he's racing today, which is a lovely little white Porsche, he's raced that for 22 years, and he's raced it since it became the SKOPE Classic, which is amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing, yeah. I think he had some technical issues yesterday, so he ended up in a more modern one, but so I'm hoping he's back in his old one today.
Nice to have a couple of cars to take out, isn't it?
Indeed, yeah.
All right, well, it looks like the cars are going out to grid up for race 1. So we'll cut back to the commentary team up in the tower and enjoy the racing. If you're here in Christchurch, come on down. Otherwise, enjoy it on the live stream, and we'll be talking to a lot of drivers over the day, seeing what's going on, meeting a lot of the people, seeing their cars, and yeah, just having a really chilled, enjoyable day, hopefully. So enjoy.
Welcome to the Mike Pero Motorsport Park, and of course also here to our many, many fans on live stream as we've just been catching up with. On the front row as far as the first race of the day, the Ron Sylvester Saloons. Ron Sylvester, of course, an absolute legend in his own time, and there's many, many stories, Victor, about Ron Sylvester and driving V8 coupes and doing barrel rolls and God knows what. But anyway, on pole position, we've got car number 861, which is Guy Stewart. Guy had a few problems with his own car yesterday, but he's driving his mate's car, and he'll be doing a couple of races with that. Sitting next to him is a very, very famous person, as well as a very famous car, in the form of Steve Ross and the PDL Boss Mustang. So that's got a huge amount of history. Come back to 199, car 199, which is Adam Collins, once again the Cortina V8 from been around for a huge amount of time. And then car number 10. The car number 10's got an interesting story behind it. Mark Scott broke a piece of his drive system yesterday, and we'll tell you more about
we got 3 red lights,
how come he's out there at the moment as well. We've got no lights at all. Steve Ross gets a very bad one. Mark Scott in the TVR grabs the moment in a lovely open car. You can see what he's doing in there as they head down towards the first corner, Abbott Insurance, and it's going to be Guy Stewart. I think, yes, it will be Guy Stewart. Adam Collins is tucked in behind him, and then Mark Scott in the TVR. Watch those front 3. They'll be the 3. Well, in fact, the front 2 are already making a moment for themselves. Down towards ICOM. And yes, they're streaming on, but look at some of the back markers coming through as well. But it's Guy Stewart all the way at the moment in the Porsche, down into the hairpin, Euromark hairpin. Mark Scott's all over them like a rash as they come out of there. So it's really going to be, I think, handling versus grunt in a lot of these races. And we've got handling out the front. Mark Scott diving in and out of the TVR. He's all over
He's all over that Cortina. Steve Ross has managed to pull 1 place back. He got down to 5th. By turn 1, so he had a real nightmare of a start from that P2 position. So he's pure grunt down the back straight that's managed to get him back up into 4th position, but he's got a bit of work to do. So they come through the Southern Salvagesses and head up towards Avon City Ford Sweeper. So round for the first time, and Guy Stewart in that little Porsche.
Yes,
Crosses alone.
He admitted that he's going to take it a wee bit quietly because he's pretty tough on tyres, and he's very much aware that the tyre wear that he will put through that car will be fairly extensive. Steve Ross on the inside elbows his way past Adam Collins, literally elbows his way through. Mark Scott obviously very, very wisely falls back just a wee bit. Story I've got to tell you about Mark Scott's car. Yesterday he blew part of his transmission train and he was stuck. He was going to go nowhere, so he rang one of his mates who's got a road-going TVR who turned up, and they bastardised his car and put it. And I sort of had this imagination, you see, where his mate gets home and she says, "Oh, you're home, but where's your car?" "I didn't hear your car. My car's at Ruapuna." "Why is it at Ruapuna? Why are you not driving it?" And then, of course, he's got to tell the story about the fact that parts of his race car, her car and his car, are now travelling around Ruapuna at high speed. So,
and I'm sure they'll be fine. It's only transmission, right?
Yeah, I think it was something to do with the rear axle, whatever it was. But anyway, they're all good and they're all going out there at the moment.
It's the sort of thing that happens in 2K Cup, but they're production road cars. So, you know, if you've got a problem with your Honda Integra, there's plenty of Honda Integras about, but
not too many
be
TVRs.
stripping parts out of a TVR.
Down the front straight, they come again, and once again it's the Porsche from the Boss Mustang. Come back then to the Cortina and that TVR that we've been talking about with borrowed bits. Down through Abbott Insurance. They're starting to spread out a wee bit now. And we've got 3.5 more laps to go for this first race. And Guy Stewart certainly has opened up quite a lead as they come down into the Euromark hairpin. That wide shot makes them look terribly slow, but I can tell you that they're not slow at all.
No. I'm just looking at the number 11 car there, that Mike Baker Porsche 911 we were talking about yesterday. That's the one that Porsche want to buy back, is that right?
It did very, very well in its debut in Europe, and it came out to New Zealand and Australia, where it's been campaigning for quite some time, and it's probably I know it's a very valuable car, because the numbers that Mike was talking about were colossal.
A bit eye-watering.
You see the different lines there and the different styles of driving as they go through the tight bits.
Yep. Now the lead is coming onto the main straight. Guy crosses the line again, another lap down, 3 to go. You got the handling of the Porsche versus the power of that PDL Mustang.
So just looking at the fastest times, 1:31 for Guy Stewart. I reckon Guy Stewart could drive a broom around this place without even thinking about he could drive anything, won't he? Guy Stewart at 1:31.9, Steve Ross 1:32, and Adam Collins 1:33. Mark Scott at 1:34. So they've sorted themselves out.
Yep.
So these obviously are the fast saloons. We've got the Harold Heasley, which are the slower, less capacity ones, I think.
Less
nice
capacity, okay.
Yeah. So down through the casino carousel, clean pair of heels as far as Guy's concerned. Just to, for people, he's such a humble guy, Guy Stewart.
Yeah.
And not many people know that he's done 3 or 4 Nürburgring 24-hour races.
He loves his racing,
BMWs. I mean, he goes over there, gets the job done, comes home and carries on working.
Yeah. Well, that's Guy, and I think he's been like that for as long as I've known him, which not huge amount of time, but a reasonable amount of time.
Very humble man.
He loves his racing, and they set up camp down there on the grass area in the pits, and it's all very, very social, and
Gap between first and second at the moment is about 2.6 seconds. Very nice lines as he comes through Icon, through Link.
Yeah,
It was Icon me a moment. Sorry guys, but we sort of we live in the past at times. So Stewart from Ross, from Collins, Scott, Carter, Ralston, Andrews, Cochran, Wall and Bushell are the top 10.
There's a great little battle going on around the Bushell car. We see, just watching them as they come up into the Euromark hairpin.
Car number 38, which is not on screen at the moment for you people watching the live stream, but it's a BMW 320i in the hands of Gerald Hargraves. Now, yesterday he did about 148s, and it's for sale.
Right.
It'll be a great little car to get started in, or a little car that, I mean, it's outclassed here because of the people that he's racing against. But in another different class, it would be an ideal wee car.
That's the story of my life, that I'm outclassed because of the people I'm racing against.
Yeah, I just thought I'd tell everybody that that car's for sale, and the fact that it's a bit further back. He's doing 143s today. You take 143s and put it into a different class, and you're a front runner. So
Yeah, that's right.
if you're interested, go and see Gerald. And I think you'll find that there'll be a deal could be done today.
Yes, you can be heading home with a lot of explaining to do.
Well, you don't have to take it home tonight. You can leave it in town.
Oh,
so
you can
break the
break
news
it
over
slowly.
a bottle of wine. Anyway, the last lap board is out.
There we go, watching that bushel car come down through into Link pothole. They've just stretched out a bit of a gap now. Mike Bushel car and the Baker Porsche. Porsche will catch up a bit under brakes. Superior braking.
He'll be breaking into the cucumber sandwich.
Great shot we're looking at on the screen of the Gruntina coming a bit sideways through the Southern Salvage. Yes, he's got the back of it just stepping out nicely.
Onto the front straight will be a winner for race 1. Again, the checkered flag is Guy Stewart. As I said, driving a mate. Isn't it good that somebody said, hey, listen, use my car?
Yeah.
Next, Steve Ross, who's got a big day with V8s today. Then comes Adam Collins.
Yeah, when you think about Steve Ross's schedule for the day, the adrenaline that's going to be pumping through the old blood system is going to be right up there, isn't it?
Yeah, he'll get his eye in, I can tell you. The TVR is next, the Tuscan, beautiful little car, which I totally envy Mark driving. Paul Carter in the Mitsubishi.
The Starion.
Yep, will be the next one through. So interesting racing there, folks, for the Ron Sylvester. Next up will be the Pat Hoare Formula Libre.
And we've got no music, unfortunately, today because we're live streaming.
But there's a wee man doing interviews. So
there's a wee man down there doing interviews.
So that's all good. The nice thing about the Libre, and God, I do go on about sports cars, but there's a whole lot of sports cars out there in the Formula Libre, and that makes my
You
heart
love it,
go,
don't you?
Yeah, I do. I do. Oh, yes. Anyway, we'll be back soon. In the meantime, we'll leave everybody in the hands of our
Adam.
live stream team.
Yep, Adam should be down there in the pits. I think he'll be hunting out Guy Stewart or some of the podium guys of that race. So expect to hear him pop on the live stream shortly and commentary, and we'll be back soon.
Oh, we're down in the pits here, and we're with Cody Banks, who's possibly the youngest driver in Formula 5000, Jim Wallace.
Cody, are you the youngest?
I think I might be. I'm about the same age as Michael, so it's touch and go. I am 31 now.
There you go, and how are you finding that car?
There you go, and how are you finding that car?
It's being a bit temperamental this weekend.
It's being a bit temperamental
It's not holding oil pressure, so
it's not holding oil
unfortunately
pressure, so unfortunately it's going in the container now.
It's not worth risking it and blowing the motor, but up until then it was going really well.
Up until then it was going really well.
It's getting a good time.
So you had that problem at Hampton Downs. You told me
we thought we had. Unfortunately, it just didn't work.
Do you want to introduce your friend Jim here?
Do you want to introduce your friend Jim here?
Has got a M5.
Has got a
and
M5.
we're looking at doing a bit of a deal on the M5 and having a bit of a hone in that one.
And having a bit of a
Tell
hone
us
in
about
that
your
one.
M5, Jim.
So tell us about your M5, Jim.
Well, it's an superstar car from Italy. They ran a series there like the V8 supercars in Australia and New Zealand. But they were European cars, and they were a bit more limited in what you could do to them. And I ended up buying 4 of them, which I still can't quite work. I think it's old age, Adam, that did it. So I've got a few.
4.
Yes. Yeah.
There you go. This man's a big classic car collector, clearly. And it's only those, or you got other classic cars?
I've got some Protons, 5 of them, which we bought the whole team, but it was very reasonably priced. And the BMWs weren't all that expensive. Well, they were actually. If Kobe's looking at buying, they're incredibly pricey.
So did he say if you came on camera he'd get a better deal?
That's the one.
Well, there you go. A lot of classic car enthusiasts down here today, and if you come down you'll see all sorts of cars. What are some of your favourites?
The British touring cars are pretty cool. Yeah, you can't go past those, and even the historic single-seaters. There's some pretty cool cars floating around.
And that was a good throw because the historic single-seaters are just going out right now. They're just forming up on the grid. So what are some of your favourites, Jim?
Oh, that M5 that I've got probably would be my favourite. Look, there are some great cars here. There are sort of some semi-muscle cars. Scope's very mixed. It's a fun meeting and it's very relaxed and easy. I've been coming here for years, and I live in Australia, so I come over for 3 months. We've got a house over at Taylor's Mistake, so life's very good.
Yeah, Taylor's Mistake is a beautiful beach, and a couple of the race drivers are actually staying over there that I was talking to down in the historic touring cars pit, which I thought was quite a long drive. I like to stay close to the track myself. What about you?
We're just around the corner at a motel and works quite well. There's a bar downstairs for the debriefs after racing.
And of course, in classic racing in the Formula 5000, there's no data to go and look at, is it?
No, we've got a lap timer, and that's about it. So that's it. We look at, fuel usage and tyre pressures, and that's it. Nothing else.
So what's next for you?
We've got one more round of 5000s up in Taupo, so hopefully we can get the Lola up and running for that. And then we're going to go and do the North Island Endurance Series. Have a bit of fun in a BMW, hopefully.
So there you go. He's going from a 19... What year is the Talon?
1973 is the Lola.
So and what's happened with the Talon?
So the Talon's actually being a good girl this weekend. She's running. She hasn't caused any dramas. And hopefully she'll go back in the container this afternoon in one piece and ready to go.
We're going to cut in here.
All right, well, it sounds like the cars are about to start.
We are going to cut
we'll,
in because we've got the cars on the grid and about to go. This is the Formula Libre on pole.
Thanks,
car number 44 is Blake Knowles, Ian Clements beside him. Blake Knowles gets an absolute dastardly start, absolutely bogged it down and just did not get off the line. Watch very closely Matt Hamilton, a car number 59, the multicoloured one. Also keep an eye on the green car of Baldrick, otherwise known as Pete Grant. So at the moment we've got Ian Clements, who's got a clear exhaust pipe way out the front. He managed to get a very good start. Now just remember that car is a Formula 2000, so he's actually a lot better equipped speed-wise and power-wise. So they then come back to John Williams, and then there's that amazing little car that's been won a lot of championships, Matt Hamilton in the 1600, and Andy McElroy did his world championship, his New Zealand championship in that car, and Matt's taken it over, and he's done very, very, very well in the Formula 1600. So compared to the modern ones, it's a bit lighter and can have different tyres, but it's still very, very quick for an old car.
So I think in Clement's going to be a bit hard to catch from there.
I'd say he'd be very hard to catch. But I mean, those guys, it's not a case of who wins, it's a case of which one of them wins.
Yeah.
And rightly so.
Yep. But poor Blake had a nightmare of a start. That was,
that was
I think he dropped down to, I'll tell you shortly, 7th maybe. So, yeah, horrific.
But he's back up into 4th spot at the moment, so that's good as they go into Abbott Insurance. Then come back to that amazing car that I'm totally in love with, the Donovan Typhoon in the hand of Royce Bayer. That's the red sports car, which is sitting at the moment in 1, 2, 3, 5th place, but on his own, and he's leading the Formula Fords. And here we come. Blake Knowles in car 44 going in very, very deep at the hairpin.
Yeah.
Gets past the nimble little Matt Hamilton car, and then chases the other seriously powerful Formula Ford 2000s.
Yeah, Matt experienced enough to know that there's no point trying to defend that position against the different class of vehicles.
No. It knows your place.
Yeah, exactly.
So the lovely thing about this field is you'll see them streaming through, and there's a number of sports cars which are out there, and it's well, we've got Caterhams, we've got Super 7s, we've got Maliks. There's all sorts of little sports cars out there, which is, I guess, a very nice way of getting them out of the shed and having a bit of a skit.
Having a squirt.
There's our leader going through once again.
4 laps to go. And Blake Knowles is 1.5 seconds quicker than Ian Clement, so there's nothing like a bad start to get the adrenaline going and the determination up. He's obviously heard the commentary where we've said, this is all ends race, and he's like, nah, I'm not gonna settle for that.
That is a Formula Toyota as well, which is a bit sort of more modern than the 2000s.
Yeah. So, and then Blake's come through Euromark hairpin up into 2nd. So he's hunting in down.
Coming down into the carousel side by side. John Williams gets the advantage under braking, but he's not going to hold it for very long because Knowles comes through, tries to go through on the inside as they come in through Southern Salvage. Very, very close. As you say, Ian Clements has disappeared off into the future. Down towards Avon City, Ford the first on his own, 2nd and 3rd very close, and not far behind is Matt Hamilton, and doing a very excellent job. Front straight grunt, we'll see as they come into shot for the live stream folk. Oh, there's that Donovan. Oh, wasn't it beautiful? Even under braking, it was a bit twitchy. But he's trying very hard in 4th spot. 5th spot, I should say. Of course, Royce Bayer is a very good mate of Lindsay Kerrs, who Lindsay's sadly unclean in so much. He's got the COVID, the terrible COVID, and yeah, he's watching on the live stream. Here in spirit, I think one could say. And Hayden, welcome to you, sir. You're wearing his Ferrari shirt in honour of the Formula One.
Dragged it out of the back of the cupboard after 15 years, but I'm sure hopefully it won't be short-lived. Great to be back out here on Sunday. So we tag in and out on the commentary feed. That's better now. I can hear you.
Once again, it's Clements from Williams from Knowles. I think that's still the no, it's Knowles then Clements.
Yeah, so Knowles has gotten past
Clements, then Knowles, and then
that's
Williams.
Right. Yep.
Yes,
yeah,
right.
Exactly. So Blake Knowles in the Formula Toyota, the Tatus has gotten through John Williams, and now has his sights set firmly on the gearbox of Ian Clements. Lap times that time around, Blake Knowles at 1:28 flat compared to Ian Clements at 28.4. The gap between them is 3.4 seconds.
It's interesting, once again, a 1:28.0 for Blake Knowles, who's got the bit between his teeth. That's the man they're chasing. The red car of Ian Clements, Formula Ford 2000.
So there's 2 laps to go. The gap between them is 3.5 seconds. But just look at that first sector time from Blake Knowles. He's cleared the traffic and now he's got his sights set firmly forward, and he's a second faster than Clements in the first sector alone.
Yeah, but it's a lap and a half though, Hayden.
I'd put good money on Blake Knowles being on his rear end very, very soon. He's
Actually,
absolutely flying.
The point is that there's now a lot of Formula Toyotas that are no longer competitive in the main class, so are we going to end up with a whole lot of them in Formula Libre? I think you could be right looking back across at the first and second.
Look at how close he is now. The original plan for the full-scale scope had an incredible class of a high-end Formula Libre, including Formula Atlantic, Formula Holden, Formula Toyota racing cars. So it'll be very interesting if we can put together that field again at some point. Here's Blake Knowles on the back of Ian Clements going into Abbott.
They're coming up against some lapped cars. But you're right. I mean, this is the last lap, and that gap is very, very close. It was 0.3 as they crossed the start-finish line. It'll be less than that as they.
I think Clements knows he's outgunned here. He'll stay to the left, and no, he does. He defends. Look at that. He dives to the left, defends against Knowles. He's going to make Knowles work for it as they round up one of the...
Julie Greer suddenly realises things are getting very noisy for her.
Julie wisely lifts early into Fulton Hogan to get out of the way and let the leaders go. Ian's defending nicely around the casino carousel as well.
Nicely or desperately?
He's got the pace in the straight line to hold off Blake. It's whether Blake can get the drive out of this second. Look at him park him.
We've got one corner to go, folks. One corner to see if Ian Clements can hold off Blake Knowles in the Toyota.
They go into the Rock FM Avon City Ford sweeper.
He wants to make that car as wide as it is long. It's going to be a drag race.
Will be Knowles in the slipstream. Can Clements hold on? Clements will hold on nicely.
Oh, that was good.
Excellent stuff for Ian Clements.
Oh, God, and I didn't put $2 on it either, did I? So anyway, that was Ian Clements from Blake Knowles. A brilliant drive from him after really getting a bad start. John Williams, predictably, would be third. Matt Hamilton next up. And then the very pretty little Donovan Typhoon in the hands of Royce Bayer. Steve Heffernan will be the first of the remaining Formula Fords, the more modern ones.
Oh, excellent racing from the Patois Formula Libre again. We look forward to.
They keep doing it.
They do, and it's just great to see open wheel racing out here again.
And sports cars.
Oh, we've got an incident at the Euromark hairpin. It's one of the little Lotus segments, isn't it?
It is one of the Lotus segments here.
He's decided to take the scenic route home. Everything back to normal. Pointing in the right direction, and we're back underway again.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. Still to come, of course. In fact, next up we've got the Harold Heasley Saloons, which is all your escorts and bits and pieces. And then we've got the Archibald's historic touring cars, and you'll want to either be watching on the bank or watching at home for that one.
Jeremy Stace. Jeremy is the driver of the E-Type behind us, 1964 E-Type Jag, Series 1, fixed head coupe that he has been racing since 1977. When did you buy the car?
1976.
Yeah.
And Tim's been looking after it for 30 years, so I've got to be a satisfied client if I'm still going back. It's been a very happy association. Well, he worked on it as an apprentice under Dave Silcock. Then he went off to finishing school in Wellington at the toy shop. Anywhere else?
No, that was me. Most of the time I just prepare the car and send Jeremy out on his way, and he looks after the car at the track. He takes it to and from and runs it himself through the meeting.
Would you explain the long service award?
But this weekend I am I'm here just to make sure that Jeremy's weekend goes well, so that he doesn't have to do too much. And
it came out on
and we brought it out on a truck just to make life easier for Jeremy, but also to make life easier for me, because we are both seniors, and tying cars on trailers, we're over that. I've got a Peugeot 106, it's 1994, and it's one of the 30 cars that raced in the one make series for them, 94-95. I will be fighting for last in the John Osborne saloons, hoping to finish on the same lap as the second to last car.
Yes, I've always loved Jaguars.
And this was your first competition car, really, wasn't it?
Apart from my Mini, which I did a few hill climbs with the Canterbury Car Club, but yeah, proper one. I was just lucky to have a classic car when classic car got going, classic racing got going. Someone said to me today, well, that can't owe you anything. I thought, well, little do you know.
Yeah.
Never mind, it's been worth it. No one's gone hungry.
We're here with Dennis Chapman, who's a long-time supporter of this event. He's been driving this Fiat X19 for how many years?
31.
31 years?
Yeah, we've been to every scope. The first one, I think we drove a 164, and then we drove the standard X19, and after that we progressed to the little R-Baths that we've got now.
It doesn't seem that long ago.
Yeah, it seems a long way when you look backwards, but yeah.
And so how are the cars going this weekend?
Oh, they're going really well, really well. They've, I got a bit of wheel spin and so's Deb, but we just drive them. They're fun to drive, and we just go around.
And you had a little bit of bad luck with the BMW.
Yeah, we're not sure what's happened. It might have burned a piston or burned the top of the piston or something, so it's off to get fixed again.
So yeah, Dennis runs, for those who don't know, a BMW historic touring car. Tell us, what exactly is it?
It's a 1993 BMW Super Tourer. We bought it out of Australia. It was one of the Morris cars. It's one of the ones that Longhurst and Morris had a bit of a punch up in. Yeah, we've driven it at Bathurst 4 times, so yeah, we actually got 8th and one Bathurst 1000, only because everybody crashed, of course. But
and of course, you've also got the lovely Audi TCO.
Yeah, we got those to help young guns to get somewhere, but it's unfortunate because of COVID, the whole thing hasn't really taken off. We had the cars, 2 of them in Australia for the Grand Prix 2 years ago, and they got told to go home, so they just, well, we run them in an endurance, and they're a lot of fun for an endurance car. So yeah, Debbie actually likes that more than the Fiat.
The Fiat's beautiful though. Anyway, we better cut back to the commentators upstairs, because we've got the Harold Heasley saloons just forming up on the grid. So that should be an exciting race. And just to let everyone know what you're running in the Fiats, what class?
Yeah, the first class. I don't know.
You just get sent out there and away you go. Fair enough. All right, thanks, Dennis, and we'll be back to the commentators.
Thank you, Adam. As the Harold Heasley saloons roll onto the grid for their first race for the day. Had some excellent racing yesterday. The little Datsun 1200 coupe of Brett Finlay, that's car number 348, was an absolute showman, mowing his way through the field to the front. Watch them coming on. I think Brett Brent will come on to pole. Alongside him will be Bob Denson in the Ford Anglia. That's number 44. He'll line up on second. Maury Bone will be 3 in his new, say new with a smile on my face, a new Ford Anglia in 242.
You in inverted commas.
Yeah, exactly. And 4 should be Kerry Smallridge. Well, I can't see Kerry out there in the RS1600 Escort. Jeremy Stace, we just saw the piece on Jeremy Stace's beautiful Jag E-Type. Yeah. Then alongside him will be Craig Pigeon in the Avenger. 34 is Wayne Perkins in the Viva, and Chris Cameron in the A44 Dina.
Actually, that Vauxhall Viva GT is a bit of a wolf in sheep's clothing, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? It is it's a bit of a weapon.
And the Fordina, of course, has been around for a fair old while. We've got 5 lights. We've got no lights.
Great start from Wayne Perkins. Lights everything up to come through from
that was absolute.
4th row. Jeremy Stace as well.
I've never seen a Vauxhall Viva GT opposite locking under acceleration before.
That was incredible. The drive he got through those rear wheels sideways. So it's Bob Denson in the Anglia who will lead them through Abbott.
It was a tank slap. I was terribly impressed.
I'm just surprised he didn't clip anyone on his way through.
So is he.
He's going sideways.
Just about full opposite lock of the whole way. Well, yesterday we had an amazing fight between the 2 cars who are out front at the moment. And I don't think it's going to be anything different today, apart from the fact that Bob Denson went a wee bit wide there in Anglia. He's a wily old bugger.
Yeah, he's done a few laps around here, but
and he's managed to sneak up ahead. Jeremy Stace, who wasn't actually involved yesterday because of all sorts of problems with a fuel line. There was more fuel going out of the car rather than through it.
Staying in it, yes.
And he's being harassed now by the little Anglia of Maury Bone. Then comes the Viva GT in a straight line. I say the straight line. He starts to lose the back end as he comes out through the carousel. So, big group of cars coming down, chasing those 2 leaders. Finlay's going to go through on the inside.
Oh, that's a nice move too.
And
Denson had to defend into the first S, and it gave Brett Finlay a great line. Oh, there's the Viva just doing some grass cutting. Wayne Perkins on the outside of the second sweeper, and we go 3 wide down the Fulton Hogan back straight. So they chase each other around into the Rocky Fair Maven City Ford sweeper. It will be Brett Finlay in the little Datsun 1200 coupe.
Look at Bob Denson coming back at him.
Bob Denson's Anglia.
Now, I don't care if these 2 are playing with each other, because I think, it's going to put on a car race for us all here.
Really is.
And those at home, I think it's great.
Jeremy Stace is close right up behind them as well, and he's dragging Maury Bone with him. So we'll go from a 2-car battle to a 4-car battle in no time at all at the front of the field. Then it's Chris Cameron in the A44 Dina. We watch the leaders come in around Link. This is where the 1200 coupe can potentially outperform the Anglia in under brakes. I tell you what, Bob Denson's just driving that on an absolute pole line. He's forcing Finlay to do all the work around the outside.
It goes through the inside. Bob outbrakes him again.
He has a big look around the outside. Gets 2 wheels up on the ripple strip. Has to get out of the
Bone's
gas.
getting involved now as well. He goes past Jeremy Stace in the E-Type Jaguar.
He's sent one down the inside of that Jaguar beautifully too. So Maury Bone up into 3rd. Here comes Finlay on the inside at the first S. This is a brave move.
Oh, very, very, very brave move. But he's going to get the job done. Maury Bone says, hang on, I want to go through there as well. So
Bob Denson's a victim of his politeness there, making sure that he didn't swap paint with Brett Finlay.
And don't lose touch with the Fordina, the A40 Farina with a long nose.
So Peter Scobie in the little Mini, the Cooper S, is also closed up onto the back of this group, as has this is just a massive battle for the lead now. So it's Peter Scobie and
Perk-
Simon Taylor who are reeling in this group.
Just a wee note here, there's a time penalty for Wayne Perkins, car number 34, the Viva GT.
I think consideration should be had. Oh, Maury Bone's gotten past Brett Finlay at turn 1 as well. I think consideration should be had for his ability not to hit anyone on his way through the field.
I just wanted to point out that as we look at the screen and look out onto the track, that Maury Bone's grabbed the lead.
Maury Bone has taken the lead. So we've got an Anglia back in front, but it's not Bob Denson.
What would you call the average age of those first 5 cars?
My calculator doesn't go that high.
I mean,
They're very
seriously, the average age would be...
incredibly experienced drivers, we'll say.
Oh, that's a very nice way of putting it. Very polite, Mr. Cook.
So
Master Cook, really. You're just a youngster, you're only 50-something.
Come on. Brett Finlay took a nice wide line around the carousel, then trying to get a run onto Maury Bone. He made the first S work last time on Bob Denson, but he's not close enough.
Just watching that, the manners of Maury Bone's car, it leans right over to the left as it comes out of the right hand, and then poof, all the way. And yeah, it must be, you'd almost get seasick in there.
He's got it set up quite soft. Look at that, the front wheel's off as he comes around the corner. He's got the inside wheel lifting. He's got that set up really soft, and it's obviously gripping up for him and paying an advantage. Brett Finlay has the run on the inside in the 1200 coupe though, and he'll clear him for the braking zone into Abbott at turn 1. So it will be Finlay from Bone from Denson.
It was nice to see quite a few of the cars streaming through for those of you watching at home. Now I just wanted to mention the fact that 1:44s is the fastest time. The slowest out there at the moment is a 1:56 with Stephen Hurst. That little car that we're talking about of Gerald Hargraves would fit in at about it would fit into the top 10 without any problems in this class, and it is for sale. Take it out of the Ron Sylvesters, put it into the Harold Heasley, and it's a top 10 car. Yep. I just thought I'd mention that because Gerald's got it for sale.
Go and talk to Gerald in the pits.
Yep.
And then go and do some negotiating with the entry people for next year's scope, and make sure that you get it in the right class.
Now, then sort of negotiate with them at home.
Yeah, that's right. It's always better to ask forgiveness than permission, Rob.
Yeah, that's right. Ask forgiveness rather than permission. That's a very good way of putting it.
So Maury Bone continues to lead in this little Anglia that's showing a good amount of pace ahead of the Datsun 1200 of Brett Finlay. Bob Denson hasn't dropped too far off the back of the group. There's Jeremy Stace ahead of Cameron. The Minis now sandwiching Mark McGuinness in the Alfa Romeo. As the leaders come across the stripe with 2 to go. Bob Denson has a look at the outside, then the inside. He's got a double draft going on. He fires it up the inside of Finlay in the Datsun, and we'll have Anglias 1 and 2 as they exit turn 1. Can Bob Denson do anything about Maury Bone in front? Oh, he's got a quicker run going into Link, but he backs off because he didn't have the right entry. And suddenly he's back in the clutches of Brett Finlay. Jeremy Stace trying to bridge that gap to the leading trio.
Don't lose sight of my mate Simon Taylor, the Mini.
Oh, that's right. The Minis have done incredibly well coming through. That Mini of Taylor's is fearsomely quick. He's gotten past Mark McGuinness.
You just saw a glimpse then, if you're at home, of the Viva GT that's subject to a time penalty. I think it was some of the exertions that he did after the start, actually.
It wasn't a subtle jump start, was it? He did it with flair.
So there's the leaders coming back through again as they come in through the Southern Salvage. Actually, all those front 3 cars are really very soft, aren't they?
They are. They're obviously set up.
It's almost like a rain setup.
Yeah, that's right. They're set up for optimum grip versus straight line speed.
So last lap board is coming out. And I would suggest that all hell's going to break loose.
Oh, exactly. Can Moribone hang on? Bob Denson has a quicker angle in a straight line. He'll go alongside.
Denson's got to take him. So will Finlay.
Well, Finlay's going to thread the... I thought Finlay was going to thread the needle for a moment there. He's pulled to the outside. They've both cleared Moribone.
There's something quite funny. Going into that corner into Abbott Insurance, there was only one set of brake lights, and it was Moribone. The other two haven't got any brake lights. Now, for those who don't know much about car racing, that's basically to totally fool anyone behind you about where your braking was.
Exactly. I tell you, it's an old racer's trick to disconnect the brake lights. Make sure that no one follows you too closely behind.
Yeah, well,
that angle here of Moribone's is just incredible. The front wheels lifting around these corners. If you watch it through these through the quicker corners, as he gets the drive out, it's just the stance is set up so aggressively. He's going to have a look up the inside of Finlay into the casino carousel. Finlay's on the back of Denson. Finlay's made this move work in the past, but I don't think he's close enough this time.
There's a wily old... Whoa!
Oh,
Finlay loses it. Totally loses it. But hangs on. He drags it back, and he's still in front of Moribone.
Yeah, Moribone got out of the gas super quick there. He saw the Datsun going sideways under brakes. That was it was a Viva GT moment. As Brent Finlay really thought about. Oh, speaking of the Viva GTs,
he's not having a good afternoon, is it? He's not having a good morning. Anyway, the checkered flag comes out for Bob Denson. Very, very well done. Finlay, who's had a laundry moment coming in that last lap. And then comes Moribone. Jeremy Stace will be next through in the E-Type. Big gap back to the Mini 7, in fact. Sorry, the Mini. Well, it is a Mini 7. Yes. Mini.
Simon Taylor just ahead of the Alfa Romeo of Mark McGuinness. Then the second of the Minis, Peter Scobie. Craig Pigeon in the Avenger.
The Fordina.
I think we lost the Fordina on the last lap. There's the bread van parked up over at the Heasley, which has been there for a while. Ian Stevens will bring in the Mark III next. But we'll just have a quick scan. We might have the Fordina's parked over the far side by the by the electrical
power pylon.
Pylon. He's under power, so it is still moving, but he obviously had an issue there. I wonder.
So the Viva GT and the Fordina both limping back.
Wonder if they're a related incident.
Grant Milligan got 17th instead of 18th today.
Oh dear.
His son Archie was up here with us yesterday, and he was going to give him a hard time. And I saw Grant this morning, and I said, "Did you get a hard time for being 18th?" He said, "Yes." So anyway, next up, ladies and gentlemen, is the Archibald's Historic Touring Cars, and that will be an amazing race.
I'm just here with Michael Collins. We had a bit of a competition. Are you the youngest in Formula 5000 or is it Cody Banks?
No, I think I'm a couple years younger than Cody, so I think I got that one.
And who's the fastest?
Oh, I don't know. Me or Steve, I guess, this weekend.
And so you're in the beautiful Graham McRae GM1.
Yeah, so it's the first car that Graham built, so it's the original in the STP, we'll call it, so it's a pretty cool car.
Really stands out on track in that beautiful sort of orangey pink colour. Just talk us through your weekend. Obviously you put it on pole yesterday and you've had a race already. How's it all going?
Yeah, sort of just, it's been a year since we last drove the car, so yeah, had a good run yesterday, got pole, and then had a bit of a battle there with Steve. He got me off the line, but managed to get the lead back and yeah, got the wins.
Awesome. It looks like the historic touring cars are coming out, so I just got my eye out for them because they're doing a rolling start, so we'll go over to the commentary team, but give them a bit of time before they come out. So how many years have you been in the 5000 now?
I'm trying to think if this is my 4th year, I think, racing. It's hard to remember, I think, but I think I probably started hanging out with these guys about when you did, so probably about the same time.
So, I mean, you've been all over the world with a little bit of racing, right? You went to America to Laguna Seca in 2018, was it?
Went over there with the whole association, which was a pretty cool experience in my 2nd year racing as well, so it's sort of a bit of a surprise, but it's good fun, and we had a good run over there as well. So.
How's that? 2nd year in a Formula 5000, you go to Laguna Seca, really tricky track, and these cars are so fast. I mean, do you ever get used to that power?
I guess so, yeah, you do get used to it. It's sort of like, I say, like I haven't driven the thing for a year and you jump in the first couple of laps a bit like, oh shit, how we're back again, but you know, you get back into it and your sort of mind speeds up again and it's okay.
And so this track's your home track, so you would have turned a few laps here in other cars, yeah? What else have you driven?
Yeah, I've done a lot of laps around here in a Formula Ford in my sort of earlier years, since I was probably about 15 to 20-ish, so yeah, done a good 5 years worth of laps around here, so. Yeah.
And your sister's driven the 5000 too, yeah?
Yeah, so Anna races our other car, the 004, which she's got a broken arm at the moment, so she's sort of recovering from that, but otherwise normally she's out here running with us, so it's 2, which is a pretty big operation.
Yeah, I mean, it's so tell us who runs the operation for you. It's your dad, basically, right?
Yeah, mostly Dad. He's sort of the main drive behind it all, and then on the race weekend we have my granddad as well, and then just family really, most of it, and then we get a bit of support from a few other people, but mostly family, and Dad's really the one that does it all. So,
are they hard cars to try and keep on track, or is it relatively simple?
Yes and no. You know, you sort of got to, like on the driving side, you got to drive within your limit, and then it's all about keeping on top of like maintenance with these things as well. So if you're confident that you can drive them hard, you know.
And so, I mean, you're 4 years in now. What are your lap times going like? You're getting quicker?
Probably about the same, I think. Sort of. Yeah, last year I think I was probably a bit more on the money. This year I'm a bit rusty, but getting better.
And so, I mean, you're a young guy and you've done a little bit of mechanicking work in Formula 4 in America, is that right?
Yeah, I did a year over there I was pretty lucky to go over with Gary and Tina Larson with Kiwi Motorsport, and they looked after me pretty well over there for a year, so I learned a lot working for them on the race car side of things, and then sort of come back and just doing their own thing now, I guess.
And so, I mean, do you have sort of grand plans as a driver or a mechanic, or what do you want to do with your motorsport?
I think this is probably the pinnacle for me. You sort of grow up watching these things and thinking they're pretty cool, so I think this is about as good as it gets for me.
Well, I mean, it's as good as it gets, right? I mean, there's not much better than driving a 530 horsepower. How much does it weigh?
Probably about 600 or 700 kgs, I'd say.
So the acceleration's pretty rapid, right?
Yeah, I don't think you'd drive anything that you're faster than. It's like the only way I've been told to describe it is you're sitting in front of a rocket, then you're strapped, strapped to your back, and that's pretty much what it feels like. So.
And I mean, amazing history as well. I mean, this car here is built by an amazing driver that did incredible things. Unfortunately, we lost Graham this year, and around the world he's recognised because he built a car and took on the world, and that car is this car, right?
Yeah, so that's sort of part of like the best part of Scope, I guess. You got all the people coming up and a lot of guys that saw that car race, and they're coming back and going, oh shit, that's the same car that I saw race when I was a young guy, and it's still going today. So that's sort of one of the cool, but you meet a lot of people like that, that have either worked on the car or had something to do with it. So
it's an amazing thing, and like getting in that 5000 this afternoon. I mean, what goes through your head when you're sitting on the dummy grid, waiting to go out, and there's a roar of those engines and all those guys around you? Are you just nice and calm?
Yeah, try to stay as calm as possible. Don't let yourself get too worked up. But as soon as it's throttled down, it's eyes forward and keep going.
And I was watching you down there from the hairpin, and I noticed you coming out of the hairpin. You're sort of short shifting and using the torque of the car. Is that right?
Yeah, it's sort of just something I learnt when I first drove the car. You know, it's part of, you got so much torque, you might as well use it. So there's no point spinning the wheels off the back of the thing and, you know, use the torque. You got it.
Well, you put it on pole, so you must have something, right? I see David Abbott just standing off to the side here. We must get a quick word. He's the series coordinator for Formula 5000. It's a quick switch there. There he is. So tell us, David, I mean, how many years have you been running this category for now?
Oh, not me. There's a whole bunch of people, and the ones that we really need running it are about to go over there and have a meeting to find out about the rolling handicap, the one of only in the world rolling handicap for Formula 5000. But look, I'd love to come back and talk to you in a few minutes if that's all right. Thanks for what you're doing today, by the way, Adam. Absolutely brilliant. But we're delighted to be here. There's a whole bunch of coordinators who run the 5000 series. But if I don't go over to that meeting over there, I'm going to have to tell myself off. So I better go on over, all right?
All right, and that's pretty good timing because the historic touring cars are just going out on the grid for their rolling start. So we'll go back over to the commentary team and they will pick up the action on track.
Thanks, Adam. Down in the pits there, bringing us all the latest from drivers and coordinators and just seeing what's going on down in the paddock. And if you're here today, feel free to wander down, have a look through the pits. It's quite a big pit area down on the grass. Have a look at the cars, talk to the drivers. That's all part of the whole SKOPE atmosphere. That's
and you can pick up for yourself a classic SKOPE t-shirt.
Oh,
which are so popular this weekend. They are almost sold out. But fear not. If you want to order one, then come to the race secretary's office. If they're still there, then you'll be lucky enough and you can wear one around today and be the envy of all of your friends. But if you're not, if you're out of luck, then come to the race secretary's office and you can order one, and they will go and make some more for you for the low price of $40 plus shipping.
Right.
You can get yourself a commemorative SKOPE t-shirt.
Fantastic.
The first ever April SKOPE.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Because normally, of course, we're Waitangi weekend, aren't we?
Exactly.
Oh no, the first weekend in February.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So we have the Archibald's Historic Touring cars on the grid, and the return of the Cosworth Sierra to the front of the field.
And I'm
presuming Chris is back behind the wheel.
Presuming Chris is back behind the wheel. Now the word is that they had boost issues yesterday, and that was a result of some, I think, low on fuel, and they were getting surge as well. So
Bruce Miles is lined up in an interesting spot outside of his grid box.
That's what I would expect from my research of BMW drivers at Pack and Save Car Park. That's the sort of parking that you'd become used to.
he may not even have an indicator that works.
Yeah.
So we've got a delayed start because we in fact have, I think that's the Camry over the far side. Car 10, yes it is. So that's Stuart Black in the Camry who is currently under flat tow around the carousel. So they've delayed the start while they. Oh no, he's got it back underway again.
Okay, so he must be. What position he's due to be in?
We're actually missing the Accord of Nigel Arkell. So Nigel Arkell, who had a fantastic battle yesterday with Bruce Miles in the first race. Bruce triumphed in the end in the BMW, but Chris Hyde's realised that his Sierra is slightly further forward than what he needs to do. The grid isn't that staggered.
Yeah, that's right. Everyone's parking like BMW drivers.
That's right. So unfortunately, we'll just keep an eye on Stuart Black, and yes, he is coming around to take a spot on the grid. So we'll see Stuart Black come into, and he should be in about grid 6.
Oh, yep,
that's right.
Behind Chris there.
Next to Aaron Black in the Roberta Ravaglia
so the
BMW M3.
Interesting thing here will be what's Chris Hyde's strategy. He's got clear track in front of him from P3.
How much boost does Chris Hyde have wound into that Cosworth Sierra?
Well, I'd say there'll be plenty of fuel in it from yesterday's lesson.
Exactly. So we're going to go one more.
Okay.
So fair enough, they're going to go around for a formation lap. You can't leave these can't leave these cars, and Bruce Miles is stalled on the line, so hopefully they'll get that push started. Let's get that as quickly as possible to get that sorted. Conrad Timms and that gorgeous Paul Radisich Mondeo at the back of the field.
So it's all this activity, men running with batteries, the Wasteco support vehicles pulled up to get the tow rope ready.
Yeah, they should be able
Can
to
they jump it?
Go, 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 go. Reach in, passenger side.
Kick it in the teeth.
That's right. Attach a couple of leads, kick it over, and hopefully, just watching the Jägermeister BMW on the dummy grid try to get it started. Looks like Bruce has got a five.
Must be going. Yep.
And he is. He's underway. Now he's got an opportunity to regain his position.
You got the timer on him? This will be a quick lap.
I was just thinking the same. Pulls out a 130 flat, just catching up to the front of the field again.
In the endurance round, we would do some of our quickest laps under the pace car.
You're just trying to keep up.
We're just trying to keep up.
It's a bit rough, isn't it? When you've got a pace car that goes faster than a Mercedes.
Well, funny story, because like I remember at Teretonga, and there was a pace car come out, and we were well back, so we were trying to catch up to the snake, and I had the Mercedes SLS and a couple of other cars behind us, and they're not allowed to pass, so we're going full noise. The SLS is in first gear, weaving, trying to keep tyres warm. He's in first gear. We're pulling fourth and fifth. That was the difference in the power of those things.
So this is a rolling start. The Bruce Miles won't have enough time to catch up onto the back of it. So
is it a rolling start then?
It is a rolling start. Chris Hyde in the X-Dick Johnson. Shell Sierra will
we're green, we're racing.
We'll have the field.
4, 5 historic race cars wide going into turn 1. I don't think a car's off. I think they've just touched the dirt.
So Bruce Miles just crosses the line now, so he's got a 20-second handicap effectively.
Yep.
That'll make his life interesting. But at the front of the field, it is Chris Hyde in the X-Dick Johnson RS500 Sierra, leading Phil Major in the Nissan Primera. Then it's Lindsay O'Donnell in the Volvo Super Tourer ahead of Aaron Black in the Roberto Ravaglia BMW M3.
We got the XJS has just pulled over for a picnic, I see there, on the inside of Link.
Yeah, that's Gary Johnston.
Getting the wicker basket out of the back.
That's right, no, Gary might have
fresh
got it running
scones,
again.
fresh scones, cream, Jaguar driver.
That's right, the thermos is topped up.
I know he's got it. He's up and going again. So he's must have been just to top up the pipe. He's just put a little bit more tobacco in the pipe, and away we go.
Oh, lovely run through the second S. Oh, Phil Major's got a problem in the Primera. So Phil Major on the exit to the second S got in all sorts of strife. He's now touring slowly down towards the sweeper, which has opened the door for Aaron Black and the M3 to come through into second. Chris Hyde.
Over 3.5 second gap through to second, Aaron Black.
It's a shame that we're missing Nigel Arkell in the Accord and Bruce Miles had the issue on the start. Bruce Miles' flying lap is a 34.7, so we need to. So Bruce will start to get on the back of this packet in a few laps.
You know you're in for a race when the car in 14th has got the fastest lap.
That's right. That's what we're really looking forward to. And as David Abbott just spoke about, we do have that incredible advertising prospect of a reverse grid rolling start Formula 5000 race this
Right.
afternoon,
Yeah.
which sounds insane.
Yes, that's the category it falls into.
So Chris Hyde in this beautiful Sierra comes around the carousel. Looks like he might have notched it back a bit.
Yeah.
Waiting for everyone to catch up. He's probably trying to find a bit of tarmac that he hasn't driven on around this track.
Yeah, I don't think there is much. He knows it pretty thoroughly. Yeah, I hope he's just backed off and getting into a rhythm rather than an issue.
That's right. Not sure there's an issue. I think he might just be waiting for Aaron Black.
Yeah.
So Aaron Black in the M3 is going to try to chase him down. Angus Fogg's made his way up to third in the M3. Next to him is 61.
Oh yeah. So Chris a 135. So fairly. Oh, that was his best lap, but you credit to Aaron there, a 134.1. So he's.
And there's Bruce Miles down the back of the field with a 133.
Yep, and I see Phil Major coming into the pit. So obviously a problem with that car. Not worth taking any risks.
No. And these cars, we spoke to our guest commentator yesterday. Who said, some of these cars, the spare parts are on the cars.
Yeah, that's right.
It isn't a case of going down to your local dealership and ordering a new and ordering a new BTCC Nissan Primera part from 1993.
No, that's why it's so good to be able to go for a walk down the pits and just see the technology in some of these cars is. Even for their age, it's amazing to look at the builds and the fact is that they're so collectible, and these guys bring them out and race them.
Well, that's right, and all of them have got information boards on them telling everyone which races they've raced in, which championships they won, which famous drivers sat behind the wheel of these cars. There's so much history out there on the track this weekend.
So I see in the first sector, Bruce Miles going even quicker. He's not had a great second sector. He's got caught up with traffic trying to get past Trevor Crowe, is it?
So Angus Fogg continues to hold off Lindsay O'Donnell and Stuart Black in an excellent battle for third. There's a stream of 6 cars there. This is Fogg from O'Donnell, from Black. In fact, Murray Clelland's in there too in the BMW. He's just gotten past Stuart Black in the Camry. Then it's Stephen Kelly and Conrad Timms. Timms will have a look up the inside too. That's a very nice move.
That Volvo might have a bit of a flat spot on the front left, I would be guessing.
It's a good move though to throw one up the inside of Angus Fogg. And there's not too many drivers that can say they've done that.
Yeah, here we go. I had a great drive. It only cost me one left front tyre.
That's right.
I got past them,
So we watched this battle for third. O'Donnell in the S40 Jag. Murray Clelland in the BMW Super Tour has also managed to clear Angus Fogg. Stuart Black's got a terrible run in the Camry on the second S. He's under all sorts of pressure from Conrad Timms in the Mondeo.
And Chris Hyde comes onto the straight. Looks like Aaron's pulled the gap down a bit.
Aaron is certainly closing him down. That's a 33.4, another half a second.
Yep, yeah, he's pulled 4 or 5 hundredths out, so he's not given up.
And still 4 laps to go. Yeah, the gap in the front is only 1.5.
And we see Bruce Miles coming onto the main straight.
Oh,
so
there's Conrad Timms throwing the Mondeo up the inside at turn 1 and does it very nicely as well.
Very entertaining racing.
Rounds up the Camry. Oh, the Camry's going to come back at him at link. That is not a too wide corner.
Now Aaron Black is really closing in on Chris Hyde. Closing in on Chris would be one thing. I think getting past him would be another. We're seeing that gap really close up. But Chris
it's interesting. The first sector, Chris was half a second faster,
right?
But it was Aaron's fastest first sector. So clearly, that's where the Sierra has all the advantage.
Yeah, interesting. because we saw yesterday that Sierra was a little bit of hard work going into the carousel. And he was definitely losing time through the infield, and we see that now that gap's really closed down.
And then he puts the foot down, and suddenly that turbo winds up.
And the BMW of Aaron Black, he's just done the fastest sector 2.
That's right. And he's holding back by a second, so it's these two cars
right on the tail of him now as he comes onto the straight.
But he'll lose the draft because this year is just so quick in a straight line.
Yeah, it is.
Fastest lap that time around for Aaron Black, a 33.1.
So
the gap now is 1 second.
Yep.
So Chris Hyde will be trying to figure out how to get the Sierra handling a bit better around the corners. As Stuart Black puts the Camry up the inside of Angus Fogg, and Angus Fogg in the 635 CSI is going backwards rapidly through the field. Stephen Kelly's got past him as well in the Super Tourer.
Oh, it's great watching that Sierra come into the Euro mark and throw some flames out the side.
Fuel price is what fuel price is.
Yeah, that's right.
I've got plenty to burn.
Yeah.
Murray Cleland has closed up nicely on the back of Lindsay O'Donnell as well in the battle for second.
Just watching, we also have the live feed coming up into the commentary box and some great shots from the Fast Files guys. We watch Chris Hyde and Aaron Black coming through the Southern Salvage S's.
And again, they're just trading fastest sectors. Chris Hyde, fastest first sector. Aaron Black, fastest second sector. They're doing purple sectors around this track. So there's certainly not a shortage of effort being put in. 2 laps to go this time around. It is still the ex-Dick Johnson Ford Sierra, ahead of the ex-Roberto Ravalia BMW M3.
So when you say the ex-Dick Johnson, you mean the
Dick Johnson.
The ex-Dick Johnson.
This is the real deal.
This is the real deal.
Yeah, go and have a look at those information boards. There's a library of data down there on these cars and their pedigrees in Australian touring car racing, in British touring car racing, in German touring car racing, in New Zealand touring car racing, in world touring car racing.
Exactly.
There's an absolute astonishing array of history in these cars, and we're privileged enough to be able to see them. Murray Cleland's picked off Lindsay O'Donnell for third place as well, while we're keeping an eye on this battle for first. So Murray Cleland in the BMW 320i Super Tourer has gotten past. A lap and a half now to go. Can Chris Hyde hold off the advances of Aaron Black?
Aaron just he closes in under braking a bit, but that
just watches
it pull away.
It must be a frustrating thing for him, knowing that the BMW is so much faster around the corners.
Lap after lap, Aaron's posting fastest sector 2, fastest in the race. So he's going faster and faster through sector 2, but Chris is still able to hold him off, and the gap's still around a second, a little bit under. So
a 1:32.85 for Aaron Black and a 1:32.89 for Chris Hyde. That is how close we are looking.
There's nothing in it, is it? It's
absolutely nothing.
It's like kissing your sister. Silence.
Very
just
much
the birds in the trees.
Some tumbleweed rolling past. Chris Hyde managed to get the Jaguar of Gary Johnston between them. Oh no, we've got it's Conrad Timms in the Mondeo who's touring slowly down the front straight. He was tracking along very nicely too in that battle.
How's Bruce Miles going? He's
got himself up to 7th.
Yep.
So he's managed to clear Kevin Payton and Angus Fogg. Angus Fogg continues to drop down the leaderboard. He's now in the clutches of Kevin Payton. But our leaders come around the Southern Salvage S's and head down the Fulton Hogan Straight. The checkered flag awaits. And it will be Chris Hyde.
Photo finish, is it?
Oh, Chris Hyde's going to set it up and then just plants the right boot. The turbo spools, and it's the RS500 who takes the honours. Aaron Black in the M3 will be second. Third place in a very tight tussle. Murray Cleland will just hold off Lindsay O'Donnell. And then fifth place will be the Camry of Stuart Black, ahead of Stephen Kelly in the E36 Super Tourer. Bruce Miles, oh nice touch Bruce, on his final lap puts in the fastest lap of the race, a 32.5. Kevin Pateman holds off Angus Fogg, and Matthew O'Donnell brings home the B&H BMW in 10th. So hopefully we can get some cars sorted for the race this afternoon. That is the Sir Robertson Stewart GP Trophy race. Over 15 laps, so we need to go and check on the on Phil Major's Primera. We need to go and check on Nigel Arkell's.
I think I can
Honda.
hear that Adam is down in the pits. Can't see him on the screen yet, but I'm assuming he's rounded up someone to quiz on the goings on of either that race or what's coming up. So we'll be back shortly, but over to Adam.
I'm just down here with Maury Bone, who you came third in the first race this morning. He's been racing a Ford Anglia since when?
Oh, about the 70s.
So about the 70s. Maury Bone actually helped me back in 1992. I had a Ford Anglia, which was rubbish. And he said, come round to my house and I'll show you what a Ford Anglia should look like. So thanks very much for the help back then. And I know you've been helping guys with these cars for a long time. What does it keeps bringing you back to this type of racing?
Well, I raced competitively in pre-65, and towards the end, like, age is getting a bit of a barrier now, but the cars were the driving was getting a wee bit too untidy, and I'd been knocked around quite a bit, so I chose to go back into classic racing, which is more gentleman-like driving, but today it was a wee bit harder. But I love it, and I only hope that I can carry on as long as I can, and I'm lucky I've got a wonderful two sisters and a brother-in-law and my sister's partner that support me, and that keeps me going.
And it's wonderful to see this beautiful little Ford Anglia out there. They're lovely little cars, and they're very fast. I mean, tell us a little bit about the car you're racing today.
Well, I built the engine, and I decided to sort of detune the camshaft so I could get a wee bit more bottom-end power, which has worked out quite good. The cylinder head has been done on a CNC machine, and it really flows good, but not everybody want to pay $4,000 to get a cylinder head done for an Anglia. And the motor's 1650, it runs Chinese max peating rods. The crankshaft is a standard Ford crank, but it's been shot peened and cross-drilled and lightened. Runs a steel flywheel, and the cam is 300 degrees duration, and it seems to work good with what I've got. But the unfortunate thing that I have at the moment, I'm giving away a lot of weight. I've taken the weight off me, but I need to take it off the car.
So, I mean, you've been working on these things for so long. I mean, it must be just second nature to put together a Ford Anglia for you.
Yeah, I think I can do them in my sleep if I have a good night.
Yeah, and I mean, tell us about this particular field you're in. It's mainly pre-78 cars, correct? And they're all pretty much on the money speed-wise, very close, right?
Some of those cars are actually quite fun, which probably will show lollipop handicap because it's going to be harder for us guys to come through. Some are quite quick in a straight line, but I try to make it up on braking and cornering. Which I really...
All right, well, the looks like another class going out. What have we got going out right now? It's the... just trying to look on the thing there. It's one of the saloon classes, is it? Anyway, I'm sure the commentators can see more than I can because I'm down the back of the pit. So I'll send it back over to you guys and tell us about what's going out on field now.
Thanks, Adam. Right, we've got Rob's back with us, and we've got the
old vintage car clubby boys.
All your mates.
Yeah, indeed.
And obviously
what, if you
soon to be my mates by the sound of it, as I've been told that I'm now in the geriatric section of the commentary team.
Box. Absolutely. Well, predictably, Russell Greer is on pole in the Stanton Corvette. Now, that didn't come out yesterday afternoon because he had some clutch problems. And anyway, as Russell would always manage to do, he managed to get that fixed. And there's not too many bits for a car that was built in the 1960s and is chain-driven and has had some very, very famous moments in its career. So that's the Stanton Corvette, about a 5-litre engine going out through train drive. And if you have a look at it, it's very typical of a New Zealand special of the day. You know, scares the hell out of me walking past it.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, next up beside him will be Mark Barrett in the beautiful little Lotus 23. The
Your
Wilco
old
23.
car?
Yeah, I did spend a bit of time with that little car. Tracy Barrett will be in position number 3 in the sister car to Mark's. Russell Haynes is back in 4th spot. Watch him in the Holden Special. That's the you'll recognise it. It's sort of an orangey colour, and it's car number 56, and it goes like mad. And he is very, very quick in it. He's done a lot of miles in it. Brian Ashworth is in position number 6. So he will be beside Graham Hamilton in the Ace 3. Now the latest with the Brian Ashworth Daimler Dart is that he's put a new exhaust system on it, and the new exhaust system has given him a lot more top-end speed. So instead of running out of puff at the end of the straight, he's still climbing as far as revs and speed is concerned.
And in some ways, like I haven't been around as long as some of you guys might make out, but it doesn't feel like it would be a Scope without Brian Ashworth in the Daimler Dart here, does it? It's kind of one of those iconic cars. I mean, I just love that Daimler Dart. It's one of those cars that just for some reason appeals to me.
Russell Greer's is supposed to be in position 4. They've done a bit of a juggle down there by the look of that. So what we'll do is, instead of running off the computer, folks, we'll actually have a look.
Yeah, the grid positioning's been sponsored by Alzheimer's Canterbury. So
I think you could be right. So anyway, put it this way: Russell Haynes is in position 3. That would figure because the Stanton Corvette didn't actually race in the first race because of its clutch problems.
Right.
So we've got Mark Barrett on pole. Beside him, we've got his wife Tracy. Then we come back to Russell Haynes in car number 56, the orangey red colour, and he will be very, very quick off the mark. Then come back to the Ace 3, that's normally in the top 2 or 3 cars, so he'll be mixing it as well. When we've got the 250, the Dart of Brian Ashworth. Beside him, John Donoghue. Bill Cowie is next back in the Indy Special. We've got 5 lights. We've got to start.
We're racing.
The two lights got up very well. Tracy's been doing some brilliant starts at the little V23, and 3 abreast as they head down towards the first corner of the Abbott Insurance, and Tracy's got to be leading through. The Ace 3 got a brilliant start, then come back to Mark, then come back, I guess it's to Russell Haynes, and then come back to Donoghue, and then the rest of them quietly sorting themselves out. But some interesting, very interesting cars out there, and it's great to see that Tracy used to be scared witless of the start.
Yeah.
She always started off the back.
Yeah,
and
up until not that long ago.
Until very recently.
Yeah.
To very recently. The other car which is absolutely astounding out there is a Chrysler 62 6 in the hands of Murray Frew. He's sitting on it instead of in it, and it's car number 6, which is tucked in behind John Donoghue and ahead of the 250 Dart. So that's very interesting. Paul Taylor in the Mistral Sports. Russell Yates is out there in an MGB. Very modern looking MGB. It's a 76, I think. But however, he's allowed to race that because it's got the original styled engines. The engine didn't change, suspension didn't change. All it did was a bit of a change in the bodywork for the American market. So this is a continuation. Otherwise, your cars have to be older than 1965. Look at car number 6 there. Isn't it an amazing vehicle? Murray Full.
Yeah, that little Chrysler 62.6.
So here we come down into looking at the leaders, the Ace 3 right there as well. Russell Haynes was doing a fair bit of hassling as they come onto the front straight. This is really just a drag race. I'm interested to see how number 12 is. I mean, that's basically a 1500cc engine up against a very powerful 6-cylinder rocket ship.
Yeah, and speaking of rocket ships, we just had the Stanton Corvette go past. That sound of the Stanton Corvette.
I'm very glad that the director's keeping us in touch with some of the back markers, because there's more history in there than you would find in the history books.
Yeah. Or in Lindsay Kerr's head. Are we allowed to talk about history and Lindsay Kerr, or is it too soon?
he's definitely part of the present.
Wait for the text message.
That was a lovely shot as they came in through the Euromark hairpin of the 250 and the Mistral going door handle to door handle. That's just in the back of the shot there you see, and I want to talk about that car. It's a 3-litre Heasley, which is in the hands of Tim Stace. Now, Tim is Jeremy Stace's son.
That's right.
Jeremy didn't really want him to be driving the E-Type, so they decided to buy a Heasley. They've done it up superbly, and it is it's in the works colours.
Yes.
So that looks absolutely fabulous.
So we've got Tracy ahead of Mark. Now, I'm not sure that I've commentated when Tracy's been ahead of Mark.
But they do vary. That's Tracy's got a decent sized lead.
Good lead. Throws in a
1.5 second
fastest
lead.
lap, so it's a deserved lead.
Deservedly, absolutely. Ace 3 with Graham Hamilton sitting in second spot. And boy, if
Tracy's under a bit of pressure here.
Yeah, he's gone a
bit deep.
And tell you what, from sitting behind those guys as they go through corners is terrifying. How they hold the damn things. They don't hold them in a straight line, believe me. They're doing very, very hard work in the cockpit. So that's the race. That's the Ace 3. Graham Hamilton, he's, as I said to you at the beginning of the race, he's normally in the top. Here comes through Russell Haynes. So the two 23s have dropped back a wee bit. Russell Haynes is a hard charger.
Yes.
Very much a hard charger. The Stanton Corvette is now up to 5th spot and will be working exceedingly hard to keep up with, or to get onto those front cars. Bill Cowie in the other car, in the Indy looking car. But as it comes through the carousel, it's definitely Graham Hamilton who is getting attacked by Russell Haynes. Russell, you've got to have to do something pretty clever to get past the old timer. Russell Haynes, of course, very well known for driving a 1200 coupe in Shell Sport and finishing the race backwards at the Lady Wigram Trophy meeting.
Right. Yes.
Cross the line backwards at the Lady Wigram Trophy. He doesn't actually want to be reminded of that very often.
Always having a look up the inside now. It's going to be a sprint race down this main straight.
Isn't it lovely, though, to see these Grand Prix cars in the condition that they're in and being raced? Mark McFadden has still got the Zephyr Special for sale if anybody wants to join those guys, and it is nearly as fast as those front runners.
Right.
And
Russell Greer in the standing Corvette's about 3 or 4 seconds faster, so it's not going to take him long to reel these guys in. We're seeing that. through watching the
Here
cars
comes the,
coming across the line.
that amazing car number 9, which, as you know, is number 6, I should say, Murray Frew.
Yep.
There's the Ace 3 leading very closely to Russell Haynes, and then the 2 low tie. And then the Stanton. That's all you can say, it's the Stanton.
Yeah.
The other car that I do want to talk about is, which isn't on screen for you folks at home, and I hope they can pick it up, is the Blue Delage, which is absolutely amazing car. It's number 18.
Now Russell's having a look around the outside here. He's come through the casino and he's taken him. Is he going to be able to hold on? Yes. So another change of the lead.
Actually, yeah, Russell's got the bit between his teeth.
Yes, he's pulled out quite a gap.
The Delage has just come through on the main straight. 1939 it is, that car. It was built in 1939 and went out in its first race, which was Le Mans. There were 2 of them built, and it got 2nd overall and 1st in class. It got lost because of the war. And then it suddenly came right again.
Is up into 3rd place with the fastest lap, 144. Having said that, the last lap, Tracy fastest through sector 2 by a significant amount, actually, half a second on anyone else. So it's all on at the front of this field with 1 lap to go. Last lap board's out, so Russell Greer's got a bit of work to do if he's going to take the top step of the podium.
What's he got? The last lap board's out, isn't it?
A bit of lap traffic coming up.
He's coming up to the little Morgan in the hands of Giles Gill. And then there's the Delage that I was talking about, the lovely old Delage, which turned into a rally car after the war and is now back in racing trim. Lives at Mapua, of all places.
Has it been stripped down up there, has it? Is it?
Well, there you are. You can see the Delage in the shot there. It's a beautiful car as the front runners go through. The Morgan 4+4, which has done a lot of work. He keeps all the spare bits in the back of the car and lifts them out for the races. It's the spirit of VCC racing, I can tell you.
Excellent.
So down to the front again. I don't think that Russell Greer's got a chance, and no, he hasn't got a hope of catching Russell Greer. He will be exceedingly happy. Oh, I tell you what, it was by half a car length. The difference was
a tenth of a second. Yeah.
10th of a second, the difference.
Fantastic.
So yeah, I was watching as they were coming down, and here's the next layer of cars. It's the beautiful Ace 3, and then the two Barretts, Tracy getting the benefit over husband Mark. So that was a pretty good race, really, and well done, Russell Haynes. I mean, he didn't get the best of starts, and he's competitive. That's what I was saying. He's competitive.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and what a finish! It was a grandstand finish, and Russell will be laughing in there. Russell Greer, because you say I kept him honest.
Yeah, that's right. He did. Yeah.
So the two Russells, that's Russ Haynes from Russell Greer, Graham Hamilton in the Ace 3, the 2 Barretts, Tracy and Mark, Brian Ashworth in 6th spot, Bill Cowie in the Spagarelli, I think it's called Spagarelli,
yeah.
And then John in the yellow Mistral, and then Murray Frew in 9th spot in that Chrysler 6 that he sits on. George Kerr in the Cato, Russell Yates in the MGB, then the Mistral of Paul Taylor, Rod Corbett in the TR3, Don Gerald in the other Mistral, then Austin Healy 3000 of Timmy Stace, Peter Levisich in the very, very well used Stewart, Conan Hay in the Wolseley, the Vanguard 6 in the hands of Don Amon, and then Mike Crean in the Deluge, and then Giles Gill in the Morgan. So that's the way they finished, and we'll be talking and racing about them later in the day.
over to Adam down in the pits. Who have you got with you, Adam?
So we're just going to try something a little different here. We've just got Gary Cliff in the old Shane Van Gisbergen SP Tools car. For some reason that's buzzing on me, but we're just going to go over and get a quick word to them. They're about to go out on track, so we're just... And so tell me, Gary, what are we driving?
Yeah, hello, how are you? Sorry, I bit hard to hear you with the helmet on.
So tell us what you're driving.
I'm driving a Falcon supercar that was originally Courtney, then Van Gisbergen, and the first supercar that McLaughlin ever drove when he was 16 years old.
And so how's your weekend going?
Yeah, it's good so far. We're plodding along. I'm a bit older than the other drivers, so we've had a third so far, so yeah, we're working on it.
This car's quite a trick car with a lot of power. Is it hard to drive?
I've been driving for about 45 years now, so yeah, it is hard to drive, but we're not as fast as those young fellas that are in them, so we're just behaving ourselves, sort of a classic car now.
And so with something like this in a sprint race, I mean, obviously you don't have to think about tyres or anything like that, you just get stuck into it.
Yeah, we just want to make sure we get the tyres all warmed up properly beforehand, because we only have one warm-up lap. And then, yeah, once into it, if you're fully confident on the first lap, it's good, but yeah, you've got to make sure the tyres are warmed up. And
tell us, I mean, there's a number of the supercars down here with you, so what do you run like against the other three?
Hayden's probably the fastest, and then I'm probably second fastest of the supercars. And we've got a couple of DTM class which are slightly quicker than ours.
So obviously they make their power in a different way. I was talking to Marco Schulp, who's in the red one, and he was, I think he's on pole yesterday. Obviously you catch them on the straights, but they're pretty good in the corners and under braking, right?
Yeah, dead correct. Yeah, we've got a bit more horsepower than they've got, but they've got better handling and brakes.
All right, well, it looks like you guys are about to go out, so I'll let you get your engine warmed up and get out there. So good luck and enjoy your race. Cool, and we'll just go back over to the commentators for these cars coming out, and I'll just get out of the way. They're just starting up their engines and everything. So back over to you guys.
It's very exciting. We've got about 150 competitors, and one of the things I love about the SKOPE Classic is they're all classic, extremely cool cars. It was the BP Alpha, and then it was PDL Classic, which was my grandfather's company, which was run by my uncle Mark. They sold the business to Schneider, and I imagine Schneider said, we're not sponsoring an event in New Zealand, we've got other things we do. And I've always teased my father and said that at the drivers' dinner on the Saturday night, they said, well, you know, PDL is leaving us, we've got no one to sponsor us. Woe is me, and Dad stood up and said, oh, I'll do it, and sat down and looked at his brother and said, how much is that going to cost me? And the next day when he informed me that this is what we were doing, I said, well, I better take over from here, Dad. It was about 22 years ago. I think I was 31. It was the year I started, the first year of the SKOPE Classic is the year I started racing. I took the view that you had to love the car you were going to race, because when you have a crash, you want to rebuild it. And I've always loved Porsches. I think they're amazing cars, they're complicated, they're difficult. Old Porsches are difficult to drive because of their desire to go sideways and snap ends. And a friend of mine found this car for me, and it's a replica of in 1974 there was a race called the International Race of Champions, or IROC, where they had 13 identical Porsches that were all based on a 911 RSR, and it was a North American race, and this is a replica of that. My sole goal for weekends like this is to put my car on the trailer straight. I don't care where I come. That's, you know, I'll be in classes with much faster cars. The weekend is focused around families. You know, if a child's into racing cars, come and sit in my car. Get your photograph taken in it. And the other thing is, typically, if you had a car on a poster on your wall when you were a kid, you'll probably find it here. So, you know, you go from something like my 300 horsepower, 6-cylinder rear-ended Porsche to the monstrous V8 F5000 cars to open-wheel classic vintage class, the very old cars, saloon cars, you name it, that's here. And it's about having fun.
just been listening to Guy Stewart there on the live stream, and yeah, and the support of Scope to this event for so many years, 22 years I think he mentioned. So, and they're still here today. And Guy's down in the pit, so if you're around at lunchtime, wander down, have a look at his car. Kids can get their photos taken with cars and stuff. Now I've got Archie in the commentary box with me. Welcome, Archie.
Thank you very much for having me.
Dad's been racing.
He has been indeed. He's
an improvement from yesterday.
By one place.
By one place. That's
by
still
one
an
place.
improvement.
It's still an improvement.
He'll tell you an improvement.
Yep.
And there's obviously, by the place that he improved to, there's still a long way to go.
I think so. Look, you know, after an engine rebuild, you'd hope for a position slightly better than one.
Yeah.
But you know, look, there'll just be a gentle bit of encouragement from me, and I think probably
he needs to kick up the backside.
He does, and I think the rest of the paddock will probably give that to him, to be honest.
Right. So Archie's helping us out in the commentary box. We've got the John Osborne saloons. So some quick cars in this. We've just seen some of those V8 supercars heading out, and there's quite a array of machinery coming up onto the grid. We've got looks like Gerald. We've got Gerald Hargraves in the BMW 325. Is that on P1? No, or Hayden Knighton. Front runners are a bit slow getting out here. Just looking at them rolling in now. Marco Schelp on 2, so Knighton is in P1.
Is Philip Hoffman out there in the oldest car on this race?
Gary Cliff in P4. Excuse me, I've just got that lingering cough. We got 5 red lights are out. We're racing. Oh, car's stalled on the grid. It's car 6. That's the dropping backwards Richard Atkinson in the Ford Falcon V8 Super Tourer. It's finally away now. That's not something we like to see. That's the worst place on the track to have an accident is on the starting grid, but finally I think everyone's away clean.
And even just watching that start, it reminds you of the sheer amount of power in some of these cars, the amount of wheel spin off that start just then.
Yeah, and these V8 supercars are very difficult to get away.
That was just joining there.
Yep, it's 635. Well, that was definitely a hold your breath moment, but that's okay, we're away now. It makes me nervous. Some of the, there's been a couple of accidents on the starting grid with cars that stall, and it really is the worst accident you can have in racing. So we're thankful that those cars got away safely, and that leaves the boys a bit of work to do. So come through the Southern Salvage S's for the first time. We've got Marco Schelp out in the lead in that E46 World Touring car. Beautiful car. Across the line, he had a situation yesterday which, after some discussion, I think a fair amount of emphasis went on the crew because he ran out of fuel.
Right.
So, yeah, there was
not completely ideal to happen during a race like this.
No. So it was, so the calculations are wrong of, I think he said something about they thought there was burning 1.7 litres a lap, and it was actually burning 2.2. So
would that have been a similar problem to what happened to Chris Hyde yesterday?
Yeah, I'm not sure that they certainly had a fuel problem.
Right.
Yeah, whether it was a miscalculation or I'm not sure what, but yeah, they definitely had a fuel problem. I just see the little Liam McCone's BMW just come into the pits there, so he's obviously got some problem with that car, so he's out. But the front runners coming through, the Southern Salvage S's, and Marco Schelp just controlling the race there from the front, followed by Mark Scott and the other M3 BMW as well.
And then Hayden Knight behind him.
And then Hayden Knight behind him. No, we've had a swap. Hayden Knight's up into second,
Nice
and now
and
into
close.
first, just before turn 1, so great move there. Marco will love that. Here we go. Right, now I've got someone to someone to chase. I think that move actually is probably going to light this race up. So these front three are going to be a heap of fun to watch. And we, you know, the great thing about this is we'll get to see the little technical differences between these cars and these drivers. So areas where one is slightly stronger under braking and other is slightly better under acceleration out of the corner, and that could be just the way they're set up or the power of these things. So this is going to be interesting to watch from a motorsport, and Marco having a wee look up the inside there going, come on, you're driving that big beast, get out of the way of the Germans.
Saying g'day.
Just saying g'day, let him know he's there. He will have so come on to the main straight. Chance for Marco to take another bite out of his spicy Frankfurter sausage. Taking the left side, defend the line.
But Hayden Island is also not letting up on him as well.
No, that's right. So yeah, Mark Scott's in with a look, and of course that means that Marco's trying to chase and defend.
That's also a nice wee race there between
Yeah,
these
the
two
two
yellow
Porsches.
Porsches. We
Yeah, I
were
was
both
just
watching that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not seeing it on the live screen, but yeah, the two Porsches just swapping positions, defending, and then swapping positions as they went into turn 1. We've got the lead 3 as they come through the casino up into the Southern Salvage S's. Dear old Marco down in the pits, you know, it's very family sort of environment, of course, with Scope, but you look at him out there and you go, yeah, the family thing's in the pits, but out here it's racing. He's not going to want to get second. And we're watching that the other cars as they come through, the little battles going on through the field. They're coming through the Southern Salvage S's now up to the Avon City Ford Sweeper. Here's those two Porsches we were talking about earlier. 3 Porsches, in fact. Little E30 BMW. That's of Craig Marsden.
And Hayden Knighton has just put in the fastest lap of a 28.
Not too bad, is it?
No.
So 2 laps to go. It happens quickly with these boys. It's going that much faster, so before you know it, there's not much time left. Just get the feeling that that Ford Falcon V8 Supercar in the front, has just got that little bit much more power in all the wrong places for Marco. He's as well as trying to defend, he's got his work cut out to try and chase. Last lap boards out. Got tail.
Who's he just put between them?
Yeah, that's just the 635 that came out last. I think that's Matthew Robinson.
And he's just letting him go now.
Yeah, so he's looking through. But that just takes that, you know, half a second out of that.
Just
You can see the gaps opened up a wee bit. We're just looking at some cars coming into. Oh, that's the Pug Stang.
Yeah, that's the Pug Stang.
Tim Stanton. He's out there actually doing 46.9, which is probably the fastest that car's ever gone around here. That's actually quite quick. He's put a couple of years ago, he put the bigger motor in that thing. It's now 1,300 cc's. So,
it's absolutely ridiculous.
So it's all about driver skill. You won't see the brake lights come on very often. It's, you know, you can't afford to lose any momentum whatsoever. The brakes get lit up. I was going to say the brakes get lit up when you put it on the trailer, but he actually drives it to the track. So it's a road legal car. So,
But I say that'd probably give some of the boys on a Saturday night a bit of a run for their money around the avenues.
yeah. And Tim, bless his heart, he just drives the pants off it. But there we go, across the line. Checkered flag as we expect the Hayden Knight in first, Marco Schelp in second, and then Mark Scott. So good race at the front. Good defence by Marco there, defending that position. Good race on those guys, and they'll be back a little bit later in the day.
Around 10 to 2.
10 to 2, yeah. Coming up soon is the Ron Sylvester Saloons. Now this is a lollipop start, so I was told that they don't have to actually suck a lollipop, and when they've finished it, that they can go. It's something different. They actually,
I think that's a disappointing effort.
I think it is disappointing.
And if that was the case, then maybe the strategy, which flavour you choose. Or
and it'd be great to sponsor it with those like $25 lollipops that are about about a foot across. That would be funny. That would suit my sense of humour. But apparently that's just nonsense. So, the lollipop start. So there'll be some groups of cars from set up around the track. That'll be their starting points. And then the flags will drop the marshal points. And away they go. That's the handicap. So in the meantime, as these guys come in, we'll hand back over to...
VT.
We've got some video footage on the live stream, and there may well be some more of Adam Jones down in the pit at some point. We'll be back soon.
I raced in Germany in 2005, I think, and with Schubert Motorsport, and it's improved, and with central wheel nuts, it's a bit wider, 3.5 M3 engine, not the 2-liter anymore, and it's a nice car, and it's really cool to be allowed to go with Scope. It's one of the youngest cars here. They made a special class for us, which is it's such a good weekend. It's so relaxed. It's all about socializing and having fun together. It's the John Osborne saloons, together with some Porsche, with the V8 supercars, which is really interesting. They have a lot of horsepower, and this one has about 400, 420, and I think the supercars, they're about 600, but on a lap, this car is just better on the brakes, wider tires, so it will be a lot of fun and good to watch. When the supercars overtake me on the straight and on the hairpin, last year it was like this, I'm back on their bum, and then you have to stay calm, just not to crash and stuff. It's about the cars and not the competition. And while we race, I think you always find some racers who take it as a race and not just showing the car, which is, I think, it's quite close. Do all of them do it like this? But everybody says, oh no, it's not a competition, we're not that competitive, we just enjoy the day, but when we are on the track, helmet is on, we go. And the owners, they jump in the car and they do what they're capable, so they go really fast with those nice old cars. It's good to watch. It's not only for me being here racing, it's also walking around, have a look at the cars, and I see some old mates cars. Like there's one Jägermeister E36 BMW, it's a Super Tourer, which is owned by Bruce Miles, and Christian Menzel is a good mate from Germany of me. He raced it back in the days as a BMW Junior. When I sent him the photos, he was so excited about it. He just loves it, and there's some other well-known names on the cars, and it's just amazing. It's a lot of history involved.
Next on the grid, the Ron Sylvester Saloons, a 6-lap race with a lollipop start. Welcome back, Archie.
G'day.
So, oh my goodness, some members of this commentary team are less than professional when it comes to lollipop starts.
Well, there's too many jokes to make.
There are, obviously. Obviously. So we have the concept of a lollipop start. Those who have attended SKOPE meetings in the past and Canterbury Car Club meetings will be very aware that a lollipop start involves cars being situated around the course with a predetermined time penalty based on where they start around the track. Then a single flag drop, everyone goes, hopefully everyone's watching their closest flag point. and again, just like a normal handicap, everyone is supposed to arrive on the start finish line all at the same time, which makes for great entertainment. So off scratch, that is the start finish line. We'll have the likes of Pete Sturgeon in that incredible 635 CBMW. We'll have Iguanig in the Monaro. And then off the very, very back will be Guy Stewart in the Jeff Lusky Porsche GT3 Cup car. So just watching them file around and making sure that we've got everyone that we should have. I can see PDL 1 parked on the entrance to Euromark, which is where it should be, hopefully.
Is that
or is
like some
PDL
trouble?
just parked?
Yeah, no.
That's what I'm
I think I can see.
wondering.
Is that 2 outside of the car or just 1?
Yeah, that's not what's supposed to happen. Just grab the eye crutches and yeah, that. Unless Steve's decided to not to do the formation lap and to just go and
sit in his spot.
Yeah, I think he is. I think he's just parked. That's a heck of a warm up for a car like that. For a car like that Mustang, he gets less than a third of a lap, and then parks it ready for a start, pointed straight at a hairpin.
I think that's a sign to say to everyone else, I'm here, I'm ready to race.
That's right. He is off and racing. Right. We have the little Fiat X19 Abarth replica of Debbie Chapman, who will start on pole. 25 alongside her is Tim McCulloch in the Anglia, Ed Gawanig in the Monaro. 91 is Wayne Graves in the 911 RSR, and 92 is Andy Milne in that incredible Mercedes-Benz 500 SLC.
That's probably the only. Is that the only Mercedes probably here this weekend?
They're there. There must be some other Mercedes. Maybe Victor drove his to the track. Victor's is probably in a million parts, knowing Victor. Catch glimpses of the other cars around the track. I can see the Ford Cortina of Adam Collins on the entrance to the Casino Carousel. He has Paul Carter and the Mitsubishi Starion in his group. We've got the lights up. 5 reds and we're gone, and Debbie has not gone anywhere. Gawanik does incredibly well to get around
and
Debbie.
Now she's off.
And she's off. Very good driving from Ed Gawanik in the Monaro to dodge Debbie.
That was quite the swerve.
It was, and he did it under full power with a nice tail flick. Very impressive. Somehow Dennis Chapman's ended up in a different handicap spot to Debbie. Kudos to Dennis for advancing his little X19 into the next category. Here's Philip Hoffman in the incredible GT350 fantastic car. That is amazing. As we catch the leaders going into the Euromark hairpin, which is Wayne Graves in the 911 RSR, who leads Andy Milne in the Mercedes 500 SLC in second, then Wanig in the Monaro.
Another car that we didn't point out was Michael Bushell in his XPGT.
Yeah, that's a very, very quick car, the 351. He's in a good group though. He's got the escort of Paul Andrews right on the back of him. He's got and the TR8 in front, so he's got some work to do to come through this pack.
I think you'll probably enjoy that though. Speaking to him yesterday, he said, just being able to be in the middle of it and actually do some passing is quite good fun.
I think so. I think most of these guys enjoy it, and especially these lollipop starts where they do have a group that they're already racing with, and they've got to work with them to try to make their way through the traffic. See Steve Ross going around the Euromark hairpin in PDL1 as the leaders come across the stripe to complete their second lap. 5 to go now.
Fastest lap from Andy Min there.
That's right. Yes. I'm sure that will be bettered as the rest of the field cascades through. Bruce Henderson and that ever-present RX3.
There you go, and there's Dennis Chapman doing a 140.
Yes. There's Philip Hoffman, 136, and the times continue to tumble. Adam Collins in the Cortina. Look at the traffic though that Adam's.
Oh, look at the fire there.
The overrun hits the manifold. He goes up the inside of Michael Bushell. So that's Collins in the Cortina, who's making some excellent progress through the pack. He's on the back of Paul Andrews' Escort. Steve Ross and PDL now down to the 132s. He's 51 seconds off the lead. I'm not sure that we're going to have a...
and just round at Euro mark.
Oh, that's Robert Ralston in the Bluebird, who's managed to get up facing the right direction without any contact.
And that now puts it behind Miles Cockram in that 260Z.
That's a beautiful looking 260Z, the car of Miles Cockram too. Some wonderful looking machinery out there.
They haven't had that car running for quite a while, so it's great to see it out here this weekend.
Excellent. Watching the battle going into the first of the Southern Salvages as Adam Collins gets the Cortina loose as he goes past Paul Andrews in the Escort. He's got Mark Scott in the TVR Tuscan behind him. That TVR was looking a little unlikely to start today until they started pulling parts off the donor car sitting next to him. And they've got two TVRs sitting in the tent. One now has substantially less bits and one's on the track, which is the way it's supposed to work. There's Paul Carter in the Starion racing up the inside of Kirk Ransley in the TR8. But the lead is still Andy Milne in the Mercedes 500 SLC. This lead pack though now joined by Dennis Chapman. Looks like the Anglia as well of Tim McCulloch has closed them as well. Bruce Henderson leading the next pack with Bert Govan in the BMW. It's an unusual sentence. I'm not used to saying Bert Govan in a BMW, but sure. But famously renowned for driving the Mark II Jag at Scope meetings. So things are about to get a little busy for the lead pack.
Yeah, it's good we grouped that.
The chasing pack is making their way through. Philip Hoffman's keeping tabs on the back of Adam Collins in the Cortina.
There's a nice wee battle happening here with the Chapmans and that.
And the Monaro, they go up the inside of Wayne Graves. Dennis pulls to the inside of Debbie. As the X19's drag race down the front straight. 3 to go. In front of the pack. You'd be wishing there was only one to go. Dennis Chapman has that Abarth going really nicely. We'll see if there's still dinner on the table tonight. As Dennis runs Debbie wide. Parks the X19 on the apex and takes the racing line away from Debbie. Not very gentlemanly, but effective as Dennis Chapman jumps into second place.
And is now right on the tail of Andy Milne.
And look at Adam Collins in the back there. Adam Collins pokes the nose of the Cortina up the inside of the Monaro. He can't make it work there, but he'll get a nice drive out of the carousel.
And a nice overtake there from Dennis Chapman.
Lead change for the X19. Dennis Chapman. Miles Cockram just rejoining the track in front of us. So Adam Collins blasts up the inside of Debbie Chapman. So it's the Cortina up into second. Mark Scott's not too far behind in the TVR Tuscan as well. He's made some good progress through the field. And with 2 to go, I think it's only a matter of time before Adam Collins takes the lead.
And that could be right now.
So Collins to the lead.
You see all the fire that spits out of that thing down that straight.
Very fantastic. Very uneconomical, very cool. Very, very cool. So it's Collins from Chapman, from Milne, from Mark Scott. There's Philip Hoffman in the Shelby coming up into 5th place. Just keeping an eye out for Steve Ross.
And there's that TVR.
Yeah, Mike Scott's managed to get through the third now. He'll set off in chase of Dennis Chapman. So Steve Ross has got himself into the back of this pack, having started a good third of a lap behind. Good to see these cars back out on the track after a little bit of paint swapping yesterday. It's pretty unusual at Scope to have paint swapping, so it's all a little bit awkward and unfortunate. Look at the width of this Cortina, the stance of the flared guards. The inside wheel lifting as he goes around the sweeper at Avon City Ford. Last lap board out now for Adam Collins.
He's just zooming away up, and there is Mark Scott, who will now be hunting him down.
Adam Collins has done a really good job to make his way through the traffic as quickly as he has. So Collins will make no race of this at the front of the field. Mark Scott, the TVR in second. I think Philip Hoffman will be on the back of Dennis Chapman in the X19 pretty quickly. Paul Andrews in the Escort has got past Andy Milne in the Mercedes, and then Paul Carter in that incredible ex-Australian touring car Mitsubishi Starion. That car's done a lot of laps around this track too. In the Southern Endurance Series, the original Southern 200s and Southern 300s. The handicappers might have some work to do for this afternoon. I think they're going to have to push Adam Collins a long way back to give the rest of the field a chance.
And now here comes Adam Collins.
Checkered flag is out. It will be Collins in the Cortina for the win. Mark Scott in the TVR will come home second.
And now we'll see how and he's done it, Phil Hoffman.
Phil Hoffman takes the final spot on the podium ahead of Dennis Chapman. Paul Andrews, Paul Carter, Andy Milne, and a fast finishing Steve Ross, who managed to get to within 17 seconds of the lead in the PBL1.
And then rounding off the top 10, Debbie Chapman and Michael Bushell.
Well, good race for the Ron Sylvester saloons. It's always good to see the quick cars come through from the rear. Adam Collins certainly showed a decent amount of racecraft to find the space and to get to the front as quickly as he did. We've got another Ron Sylvester Saloons race this afternoon. It will be a 6-lap handicap, so we look forward to that. But in the meantime, next up on the course will be the Pat Warren Formula Libre. But we'll throw back to Adam and the Fast Files crew for another chat between races.
So I've just got Vaughan here, who's been racing in the Harold Heasley saloons. He's got a 260Z Datsun. So you're the Japanese car amongst a lot of Euros.
A lot of Euros. It gets slippery out there.
And so how's your day going?
Oh, it's fantastic today. We had a wee issue yesterday and missed out on the racing, so back today, and it's first time I've raced at Ruapuna. The car's been off the road for about 12 years, so it's just lovely to be back. Just lovely.
So, first time at Ruapuna, are you a local or?
I am. I've done speed events here, so I know the track quite well, but I've never raced. But it's been 12 years since I've done speed events, so.
Well, it's a big change for you, or is it you're finding the traffic okay?
They let me go off the back, which is quite nice. And then, yeah, I've come through and I've passed a couple of cars. It's been fun, but I'm going to be off the back for the handicap and the lollipop, so I think I'll just do laps by myself. It'll be fine.
So, I mean, this is a great event, the Scope. It's been going for a long time, and you picked this as your first event to come to. Why is that?
I've been an auditor here for over 20 years, and it's been my ambition to race here, and had the opportunity this year, so I thought, let's do it.
That's really cool. So, by an auditor, for people that don't understand, can you tell them what that means?
So all the cars that go on the track have to meet a safety standard, and the auditors have to inspect cars just to make sure they're up to that standard. So we don't inspect all the cars. It's up to the driver to make sure it meets the standard, but we just do a spot check just to see the cars are as they say they are. So it's just a technical or admin part of the coming to race on a race day. Raises safety standards.
Yeah, so back in the old days, I remember rolling in here in my old very rubbish car and being told off because my suspension wasn't as good as it should have been. But now it's really about safety, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all about safety. Suspension will be checked because that is a safety item, but the standard of cars is just amazing. Like the cars presented out here are just incredible. They're beautiful cars, well engineered, and of course a lot of them have been racing a long time. They've just got better and better and better. So it's just it's checking that they meet the safety standards.
So obviously that set a bar that was high for you to finish your car that had been 12 years in the shed.
Yeah, well, it was a big expense. There's a lot more safety gear than when I used to run in speed events. So, yeah, it's been an expensive week. But, yeah, no, the bar's high. But, yeah, they managed to ping me on one thing.
What was it?
Well, my fire extinguisher was a bit old.
So the safety auditor got pinged on an old fire extinguisher. Oh, well, that's quite... You would be owing them some beers or something?
Yeah, I think it might be the case, yeah.
And so today you've got one more race, yeah?
No, I've got two.
Oh, there you go. And so what's are they handicaps or lollipops or?
Yeah, so the next one's a lollipop start, so they'll start me out of the pit lane because I didn't run yesterday. And then the last one's a handicap, so I'll be off the back again.
So the lollipop start is something that we don't see in very many places. Was it pioneered at Ruapuna, or is that... Because, I mean, I race a lot in the North Island, we don't do lollipops. It's a great way to get all the cars off the line at the same time, right?
Yeah. Look, I'm sorry I couldn't answer that. I've enjoyed it here over the years at Scope, watched for the last 20 years, but I actually come from down south, so like you don't know, it seems like a local tradition.
So for those who didn't see the last race, which is a lollipop, and there's a race about to start, so we should actually get back to the commentators so they can give you the rundown. So back to you guys up in the tower.
Third race of the weekend, and I think for the third time this weekend, Blake Knowles has missed the start in the Tatus.
Yeah, we apologise to everybody because we were sitting here having a deeper discussion about the track and its formation. Look at that beautiful shot of two sports cars coming around in the corner there. That's beautiful stuff.
That's
really
Neil Kay and the Malik. That is it's beautiful looking car, isn't it?
Yeah, and Mowat and the Super 7 Clubman. But yeah, exactly. This is Formula Libre. Pat Hoare, who was obviously exceedingly famous for his Ferrari driving, had a reputation to be one of the few, if not the only person who could screw a Ferrari away from the team. There's all sorts of conversations have been had about how he actually did that and what relationship he had with Enzo, but whatever it was a very good one, because he brought Ferraris into New Zealand when Ferraris weren't allowed to leave Italy. Time penalty for car number 47, and 47 is Ian Clements and the Reynard Formula Ford 2000, who actually...
that may explain why Blake Knowles' start looked so terrible when the bloke alongside him had.
The car in your picture now, if you're watching on live stream, is in fact the car that has had a time penalty placed upon him.
So 188 will be John Williams, who will take the effective lead of the race.
The red car that's just gone flashing is one of my absolute favourite cars. It's the Donovan Typhoon, and it's just a beautiful car. That's
Bring yours favourite son.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ross Bayer at the end of the field.
Anyway, back to the leaders, or the pseudo leaders. He'll get, I'd imagine, a 10-second penalty, so he's got to get 10 seconds up, and he's got 4.5 more laps to do it.
There's Blake Knowles in the Formula Toyota that dives up the inside of
John Williams.
John Williams in the crosslay.
And then barking at the heels like a little wee fox terrier.
That car is ridiculously fast. We're talking about Matt Hamilton in the Van Diemen RF88, and for a car that's over 30 years old.
And Matt's been around a fair while himself, actually.
Matt has been around a while as well, but that car just has some amazing single-seater history.
It does. I mean, it's been a New Zealand champion, it's been a South Island champion, and it's been
driven by some incredible names as well.
It has. So that's a great little car. We did explain earlier on in the day that it is actually has a wee advantage as far as weight and tyre usage is concerned, because the modern cars, that's the car there we're talking about, the modern tyres aren't as quick as the older allowed type ones. I'll tell you what, Ian Clements is not going to be able to put a 10-second lead on Blake Knowles as they go down towards the Abbott Insurance sweeper, turn 1, which becomes turn 2.
See the field cascading around the...
John Williams has been dropped right off the back. Here's the battle that on your screen then was the battle of some of the little, not quite so fast, but having an absolute ball cars. Mixture of Formula Fords or Formula 1600s as they are now supposedly known, because Toyota have made a big name as far as promotion of motorsport, and the word Ford, unless there was any money being changed hands, and there hasn't been, I understand, that's the reason for the dropping of that title. Down into the hairpin, very, very tight indeed as far as first and second is concerned.
No, that's our battle. That's
sorry,
Royce Bayer and I think it's Peter Grant.
Yeah, sorry, I just looked at the red car being followed very closely.
That's right. No, at the front of the field, that's Blake Knowles, who's managed to get ahead of Ian Clements as they head down towards the sweeper. Blake Knowles in the far newer Formula Toyota, ahead of Clements and now Williams in the crosslay. So Knowles from Clements, from Williams, then it's Matt Hamilton in the RF88. And as Rob alluded to, a good battle behind them, Peter Grant in the Eldon with Royce Bayer in the Donovan Typhoon.
Yeah, the Baldrick and car number 9, the green one, it's not totally standard.
I was going to say, I think he might share a small advantage as well. 178 is Peter Cox in the Eldon, who's split the gap nicely, and has jumped up into that fifth spot. Can't imagine Blake Knowles making much of a race of this at the front of the field.
So then, as they went over the stripe, Blake Knowles was just under 2 seconds the gap back to Ian Clements, who's got the time penalty. And then, of course, you come back a bit more to John Williams. Then Matt Hamilton, what an amazing guy in that little wee 1600. Car number 20 goes through in front of us. It's Neil Kay in the Malik. Neil's also a pilot of a E30 in Rensport.
Great to see the number of sports cars out here again in Formula Libre. We continue to encourage the number of sports cars that we see in this category. The number of Lotus 7s, the Maliks, the Caterhams that come out here.
The Formula Toyota doing a 1:26 in the hands of Blake Knowles. Ian Clements, his best time was a 1:28. And then John Williams 1:29, and then Matt Hamilton a 1:30. I mean, there's no way that he should be that quick.
An insane time for a Formula 1600 car.
There's a big gap back then to the Donovan Typhoon at a 1:37 and Baldrick at a 1:39. So the rest of them, the minor money, are all pretty much in together as you see them heading down the front straight at the moment.
Baldrick pulls to the inside of Hayden Cox as they go into Abbott. It's a great battle for the minor money. Royce Bayer and the Donovan right up behind them. I think it's that Andrew Downs and the Lola included in that battle.
The leaders certainly got the race totally under control. As one of our group in the Typhoon area, it has a bad case of bad braking. I think that's Peter Grant, actually. Yeah, Peter Grant's just had a few moments coming into Euromark.
He's dropped to the back of the group. We do know, though, that Peter Grant has some good pace in that Eldon, so he will manage to... we've got a yellow flag at the turn 1 as well. There's just a car on the inside, looks like one of the Lotus 7s.
Yeah, it's the... I think that's Chris Munn, or it could be Greg Mowat. I'm not quite sure which of the 7s it is, but anyway, he's underway again. The tow truck emerged and scared him into movement again.
So we are on the last lap. Blake Knowles continues to lead comfortably.
And don't forget, there's a time penalty for Ian Clements, who's 6 seconds behind and only a couple of seconds in front of John Williams, so he'll be shuffled back.
And our battling pack goes into Abbott. Hayden Cox being chased down by Andrew Downs in the Lola, and Andrew Downs has gotten past him too, so that's the Lola up into 5th place. Ahead of Hayden Cox, then Royce Bayer. But it will be the checkered flag this time around for our race winner, Blake Knowles. Makes no...
Well, neither he should either. I mean, he's two and a bit seconds quicker per lap.
Makes no contest of
it. Neil Kay goes through in the Malik, and the noise around him was quite amazing as he was being lapped. So there we are. We've got Blake Knowles, Ian Clements, who will be shuffled back because of a time penalty. John Williams will be there, will be second. Matt Hamilton in the amazing little 1600. Then come back to the Eldon of Hayden Scott.
So that battle continues on with the Lola now of Andrew Downs ahead of Royce Bayer. They've both gotten past Hayden Cox in the Eldon. Then Peter Grant. That's Tony Dorber in the Royale who's gotten up into that pack as well.
I tell you what, just previewing the next race. Here's a challenge.
Right.
Right. Okay. It's a mobile lollipop start.
So this is the SAS Auto Parts MSC Formula 5000.
Yes. Okay. So you've got a couple on scratch who'll cross the line and they get a green light.
Yes.
The next couple are 7 seconds behind them.
Whilst rolling.
Yeah, so it's sort of like, it's, yeah.
How far is 7 seconds?
Oh, you twigged to it, The next line, 40 seconds behind.
Right.
The following line is 21 seconds, and the guys off the back are 75 seconds behind the leaders. Now, you've got race cars driven by race drivers with helmets on and the strap underneath the chin, cutting the blood supply to the brain.
So we've got. So this is a logistical nightmare for a start. Let alone the fact that they've got a 5-litre rocket strapped to their back.
I couldn't believe how anything could possibly go wrong.
Well, we look forward to watching how that all pans out. That is the SAS Auto Parts MSC Formula 5000. The first race for Sunday is due to go next. We'll throw back down to Adam and the Fast Files crew.
So I'm just down here with the 5000s, Formula 5000, just to go out. It's an absolutely beautiful sight seeing 12 of these cars all lined up, ready to go out on the track. I'll see if we can get a quick word with Tony Roberts, who's just sitting in his car about to run out on track. So, Tony, how are you feeling about this race?
Oh, feeling pretty good. But the car's got problems, so it's got quite a bad miss under 4,000 revs. So we'll just play it by ear, really.
So I don't know whether you could hear that above the roar of the 5000s, but Tony was saying his car's got quite a bad miss, but he's going to go out and see how it goes anyway. So hopefully things go well for him. He's been a stalwart of this series for a long time now. Obviously, I did a film with Ken Smith back in 2018, and he was Formula 5000 absolute fanatic. He still is today. Ken obviously couldn't be here today, but I'm sure he would have loved to see these cars out running. And so they're just about to go out on track, and I'll go back over to the commentators now, and they'll be able to give you all the details on what cars are going out and what we're going to see. And they're roaring out now.
So the interesting format for this one is that the cars will do a warm-up lap, and then they will supposedly come in behind the pace car, and the pace car will pull off, and the front two will get a green light. The interesting thing for the following two, they have to estimate a virtual 7-second gap. Behind them, there's a virtual 40-second gap. Behind them, there's a further 21-second gap. And then for the back runners, which is Michael Collins and Steve Ross, they've got to work out in their minds what a 75-second gap would look like. I sort of visualise, Victor, like a virtual safety car in Formula One.
Yeah, when you're talking about visualising that gap, having been at the back of the field, I know what that looks like. But for these front runners, it's what they would be used to seeing in their mirror.
Yeah.
The gap.
So anyway, so the guys are doing a warm-up lap, and then, as I said, they will line up behind the safety car, the pace car, who will take them around. They will visualise in their minds the virtual gap, and then.
So from the slowest to the fastest, there's about 75 seconds, I think we worked out, which is just about a lap for those guys. They were doing 120,
128, I think, weren't they?
Oh no, faster than that. 120, 119, 118.
Well, I'll put it this way: the boys are lining up. But one of them is not lining up. He's just pulled off. Who's that? Have you got your glasses there?
The green. Yep, I've got them. I'll hand them to someone with, because even with glasses, my eyes are no good still.
Tim, can you have a quick look at the...
Who have we got over there, Tim? Yeah, they're terrible, aren't they? We're searching for the voyeurs amongst the commentary team. Michael Collins, is it? And the leader, the 22 GM1.
I mean, with all this sort of estimating times, what could possibly go wrong?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Oh, that's a pity. Gosh, that's going to throw the lollipop. They'll delay the start.
Well, that's a shame because he was going to be off the front.
Yep.
So now Toby Annabelle will be on scratch. So Formula 5000s, we go back to an international series held basically throughout the world. The big teams all produced them. And some of the action here when it was the national single-seated class was absolutely astounding. Mainly Australians and New Zealanders. I think people like Graham Lawrence and Kenny Smith and Warwick Brown and all those guys who used to race these things. Bartlett, those guys were absolutely astounding, and these cars are still amazing.
Yeah.
They're still absolutely amazing. In the meantime, the pace car is coming round into the Euromark hairpin. Now just remember that this one car will be off scratch. Chalmers and Roberts will be a 7-second gap behind Annabelle. 7 seconds. That's not a 7-second gap behind there at the moment. What I can say is good luck to the clerk of the course at the moment. Our thoughts are with you. Yeah. Down through the hairpin at the moment, you've got the back markers coming through. They will be they'll be looking to fall right back, but not as far back. In fact, they'll be about 21 seconds back, I think, which is Banks and Galbraith, who are just coming in through this.
Okay, it looks like the pace car lights are out.
Yeah, just remember, folks, that when
the pace car's trying to pull away, but even the slowest of the Formula 5000s are putting it under some pressure.
Once we get a green light,
we've got red lights on, so we're ready for a race start here.
So
now, if I was the slowest of these, we'd go anyway. We'd go anyway. Okay, well, 5.7.
Yeah, well,
it's close enough. Let's see. We'll see how the gaps are looking as they come across the line. There we go, 20 seconds.
Actually, I reckon that number 9 was actually passed.
Not too bad. So 20 seconds. That's good, honest racing by David and Tony. And then 32, 33 seconds. Yeah, fair enough. We've been racing for a few minutes. Now we're getting to the end of the field, which is a bit sort of really lost count.
But
maybe?
Of course that was 75 seconds.
Yeah, of course that was 75 seconds.
Yeah, just over a minute, you know. Yeah, I'll catch up with them in a minute.
Yeah.
Anyway, folks, that's the way they are at the moment.
It's good fun.
As we said, what could possibly go wrong? But anyway, Tony Roberts and Annabelle, Toby Annabelle and Alistair Chambers all sort of working their way out through the out at the front. I tell you what, these 5000s, I mean, they're absolutely amazing, and they're old, and they're using old parts.
Yeah,
which is
at 110%.
So Toby Roberts goes through. It's good because he was actually off pole, but he slipped back, and now he's back up there again.
Yep.
The real challenge is going to be for basically Steve Ross and Michael Collins. That's cars number 22 and number 5, who've got a lot of work to do, even though they had that 75 second-ish handicap.
Yeah, give or take 75.
So Michael Collins in the bright orange car is the one we're looking at, and over at the back. Steve Ross, who's double dipping, he's got this, and he's got the Boss Mustang that he's driving this weekend. They're already up onto the back markers, if you can say that.
So watch leaders
speed
coming
differential,
through.
just having a wee look at the best, 131, 132 for the front runners, 120s for the back marker, or from those off the back. So, yeah. There's about, that's about an 11-second gap,